Well. Trey Wingo and Booger McFarland had some great things to say about the Cowboys, or should I say Booger McFarland. But then Trey Wingo had some things to say, and Booger McFarland, that I absolutely do not agree with. And I think every Cowboys fan will be shocked by some of the things that these guys are saying. Let's talk Cowboys. We're about to talk facts. And we live. Yep. It is time to talk Cowboys on a beautiful Sunday evening. I know, it's catching some people off guard. If you don't catch it live, you can catch it on the replay. But nevertheless, it is time to talk Cowboys, and I got a great show for us today. Welcome, Cowboy fans and Cowboy haters alike. I'm the G, and I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. And as you come into this live stream, please hit that like button, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know the next time we post another video or go live. And we are live. And if you haven't become a channel member subscriber yet, please do. We have a lot of great things coming up the rest of this season. Now let's talk facts. I have an absolutely incredible show today. At least I believe I do. I have an absolutely incredible show. Man, I was perusing the internet trying to find content for Cowboys Nation. And I ran across Trey Wingo and Booger McFarland. And some of the things that they're saying is great. And then some of the things they're saying, you can tell, spoken from a position of people who absolutely despise Jerry Jones and just talking out the side of their neck, as we used to say back in the day. And what they are saying is not true. So, let me tell you what we're going to be talking about. Today, we're going to start the show off with the Wingo and McFarland. I think it's Trey Wingo. I guess it's his podcast. Booger McFarland is on here. I'm not really sure how this goes, but they're talking about the Dallas Cowboys and their latest move, especially with Quinnen Williams. And Booger McFarland has some great things to say, but man, I'm not jiving with what Trey Wingo said. But we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about Matt Eberflus. Y'all gonna call me a prophet before it's over. Because a lot of things that I've said way last year, way when the season started, those things have been coming true, and you're just now hearing people talk about this stuff. They're brand new to this stuff. I've been on this. I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. I'm going to warn y'all about Matt Eberflus. I don't care what anyone tells you. I'm going to warn you about Matt Eberflus. But I'm going to tell you what I'm going to show you what Emmitt Smith had to say about Eberflus. Troy Aikman gives his 2 cents, and then I'm going to give my 3 cents. We're going to talk about Matt Eberflus. And then we'll throw in a couple of player interviews. They finally posted on DallasCowboys.com. I actually went and listened. I mean, they posted on YouTube, but I didn't realize sometimes the videos come on DallasCowboys.com. I already listened to, I've already listened to Savon Rebel Jr. We'll play him. I think it was Logan Wilson, and I think it's Quinnen Williams. So we're going to listen to those 3 player interviews. And then finally, we're going to listen to the Brian Broaddus breakdown on 105.3 The Fan as it applies to the Cowboys and the Raiders. So these are the 4 topics for the day. Wingo and McFarland, Emmitt on Eberflus, player interviews, and the Brian Broaddus breakdown. It don't get any better on a Saturday evening. Let's go. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Man, let's keep this thing hyped up. Let's see who up in the chat today, and then we're gonna get this thing started. Lolly, what's going on with you? Good to see you. AJ Davis 1266, good to see you. John Jones said, what up, G Money? I'm gonna tell you it's New Jack City every single time. And I'm gonna tell you too, Money Talk and Bullcorn runs a marathon. Let's go. Terry Tatum, what's going on with you? Good to see you. Gerald Mays in here. It is the one and only True Texan, Howdy, partner. What's going on with you? It is Pure Gaming Scopes. What up, Pure Gaming? What's going on, Mr. Get Dirty? What up with you? Good to see you, Mr. Get Dirty. And it is the Reality Cowboy. What's going on, Reality? Well. It is the Big Rombowski. What's going on, Big Rombowski? Saturday Night Cowboys Facts. Talk main event with the G. Let's go. JG for real in this thing. Big Mouse Dog. Davion Wallace. Brian Worley. And it is the Queen. What's going on, Queen? Mark Vasquez in this thing. Trent Smith. Let's go. Chris Dunaway. JCT Slice. Number 1, Dak Prescott fed up. Number 2. He said Speak Easy really irritated me, dog. Shady said that Josh has to do it all with an elite O-line and a mediocre team. Stop it. He said Dak has no excuses. Come on, man. Even with a bottom caliber defense. Stop it. You know we ain't listening to Shady McCoy. They don't want that YouTube channel to be successful because there is no way you should have him on YouTube. What's going on, Oddball JC? Let's get this thing going. I am him. What up with you? What up, Kamikaze? Andrew, what's going on with you? He said, good morning from Thailand. Yes, sir. Kippy. What up, Kip? He said, we going on a real run, G. Hey, it starts on Monday. What up, Willie Lewis? It's that man, Ace Wade. What up? What up with you, Ace Wade? Good to see you, man. All right, let's get this thing going. Mike Fields, and as always, the regular Dominique Pittman. What up with you, Dominique? Yeah, let's go. All right, give yourself a hand. The best chat on YouTube. Let's get this thing started. So today, we're going to get this thing going. Wingo and McFarland. Let's get right to it. Wingo and McFarland. I was kind of blown away by this interview because the way it opens up, you know, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is cool and yada, yada, yada. And then Trey Wingo starts giving his 2 cents. He starts giving his 2 cents on the Cowboys. And I'm just kind of like, come on, Trey Wingo. Come on, Trey Wingo. Boy, you can tell when people are talking from a position of bias when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. And so, let me get some house cleaning done, get this first one, putting my markers in. I'll make sure I put markers on the YouTube video today so people can catch it in different spots. But Trey Wingo had a couple of things to say, and I'm like, wait a minute, come on now. Y'all got to stop this. Ace Wade said, they're my cousins, and I'm proud of how we played today. Big time comeback win. Okay, who we talking about? You said they're your cousins. Let me see here. Okay, let me know who we talking about. Big Rombowski said him and Smith's son, E.J. Smith IV, had a touchdown today for A&M, another chip off the old block. Yeah, man, let me tell you something. If that joker get to when he gets in that and hits that draft, I mean, you know, when he gets in that draft, I would not be surprised if Jerry Jones picks him right on up. That's going to be a Jerry Jones picks if he's still in his right mind. Man, what's going on with you? Dale Jordan, what's going on? Superstar status, what up with you? So let's get right into this thing with Wingo and McFarland. Has some very interesting things to say about the Dallas Cowboys. It's only a 9-minute segment, but y'all know we about to go in on this. At least I am. We about to go in at least 45 minutes on this thing. Check this out. Oh, I got you, Ace Wade. Emmitt Smith and his son EJ are my cousins. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I see you. Get this thing in with Trey Wingo. Check it out.
It's a top combo in the National Football League. No disrespect to Jeffrey.
Let's hear that again.
I think they are the best defensive top combo in the National Football League. No disrespect to Jeffrey Simmons and T'Vondre Sweat or Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. But I just like the way these two play together. These two fit together. Maybe this was a move, as I said, to kind of set up the next move.
Now, I 100% agree with him. And this is why if anybody checked out the show I did about when I did about the Cowboys preview show, the 10 things the Cowboys need to do, what did I tell you? If I'm the Cowboys, when they go to the 4 down linemen, if I'm the Cowboys, I'm already telling you what my defensive line is. Because, hey, guys, we better get ready. I know the Cowboys are running these 5-man fronts, but I'm telling you, those 5-man fronts are very susceptible. They are very susceptible to the pass. And I'm not sure we're quite ready yet on the back end to start going man-to-man. We're not ready to do that consistently because we saw what Harrison Jr. did to Deron Bland. I'm not sure we're going to be ready to just... That defense, I'm just telling us, it's a run-stop defense is what it is. It's a run-stop defense. And I tell you this, if a team hits you with the play action, Arizona did it to us. Arizona ran a whole bunch of play. They ran jumbo. They ran a whole bunch of play action because they knew what that 5-man front was for. Now, it's going to be even more formidable with Quinnen Williams. But eventually, I'm telling us, the 5-man front, that's not Matt Eberflus. Those are the adjustments for what they had previously before they got Quinnen Williams and before they got Logan Wilson and before DeMarion Overshown came back. But I believe you're going to watch them migrate back into the Matt Eberflus system. Because if it's not the Matt Eberflus system, you might as well get you another defensive coordinator because he's no longer Matt Eberflus. Unless Matt Eberflus is going to change his entire style of defense. They are going to go back to some 4-man fronts. It makes sense. They're going to go back to rushing 4 and dropping 7. Because with the way Izaraku and especially Jadeveon Clowney is coming along, and then you put Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark, who is actually a true nose tackle, one tech in a sense, that 4-down lineman is probably going to work better than it ever did with Osa Odigizua and Kenny Clark. And so I do believe that Kenny Clark and Quinnen Williams may very well be the best defensive tackle. They may very well be the best defensive tackle duo in the league. But we got to see them play. We haven't seen them play yet, but I think it's going to be true. I'm mad, man. He said, G didn't leave my first comment on screen more than a microsecond. Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was trying to get this thing rolling. JCT Slice, he said, why don't these people ever show their negative bias as much about Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen? Simple. They like them. Simple. What's going on there, said? I think that's what it says. There said, okay, let me see here. Madman, he says we need a new defense coordinator. That's a problem. Madman, I got news. This is going to be bad news for you, Madman. Matt Eberflus is not going anywhere. Matt Eberflus isn't going anywhere. I'm just telling us now, Matt Eberflus isn't going anywhere. We're going to have this discussion even more when we get to the Emmitt Smith portion. Man, he's not going anywhere. We got to be honest with this thing about Matt Eberflus. I know we got a right to be mad, but I also think we got to be reasonable. Two things can be true. The problem with Matt Eberflus is Matt Eberflus showed no capacity until it's like the Cowboys forced him to. It was like he showed no capacity for trying to adjust to the personnel that he had. He wanted the personnel to start learning the system that he was running. And then I think he just got to the point to where he said, we don't have the personnel to run my system, so we're just going to run straight zone. But the reality is that's not really anything that he's done differently anywhere else. Simply put, because, and you'll see this when we get to this portion. Again, we're going to have to ask the question, why hasn't Matt Eberflus looked this bad anywhere else? He hasn't been to Super Bowls. But why has he not looked this bad anywhere else? Matt Eberflus has not looked this bad anywhere else. Now, me, I just say my definition of success is a little bit different. I'm thinking of when I'm thinking about Super Bowl winning coach. I mean, when I think about success, I'm thinking about a defense coordinator that has been on a team that has won Super Bowls, been to a Super Bowl, been to an NFC Championship game. That is not Matt Eberflus, if I'm not mistaken. But Matt Eberflus has had some success. But I can tell you this, it's indisputable. It is absolutely indisputable what I'm saying. Matt Eberflus hasn't had a defense that's looked this bad. He just hasn't. he just has not had a defense that's looked this bad. So I think two things can be true. It was his lack of, he didn't want to make the adjustments for the players. It seemed like to me that Matt Eberflus, and this could have been all of their plan, and Matt Eberflus could just be the face of this. That they wanted to see who could run the Matt Eberflus system. I told people from the get-go, this was never about 2025. It was about 2025, but it wasn't about 2025. 2026 is the season. I've been saying this for a year, and I'm still saying it. And the Cowboys have looked at the players that can't play the system. They started making adjustments. He's got players now. I think this thing is going to look a whole lot better, and we're going to see as it keeps going. But the opening statement by Booger McFarland, he says the best defensive tackle duo in the league, not Oso Digizua. Let me tell y'all something. There's going to have to be a serious conversation about Oso Digizua. Nobody wants to have this conversation, but there needs to be a conversation about Oso Digizua. Oso Digizua has not been dominant. I mean, he got his money, and we haven't narrowly had a conversation about how great Oso Digizua has played this year. You're going to have to run to the stats on Oso Digizua. Now, they're going to say some things about Kenny Clark, and I understand some of these things have been happening also to Digizua. The teams got smart and started doubling the Cowboys' defensive tackles. But, man, when you pay players, man, you're expecting them to beat some of these double teams. You watch what I show. You're going to see what Quentin Williams is going to show us. Quentin Williams going to eat double teams. Quentin Williams is not just going to get double teamed. He's going to eat double teams. And he's still going to make plays out of those double teams. That's what you're supposed to do. Man, Osa, man, got paid big time. And Osa, Star Guardian said, appreciate that super chat. Star Guardian said our defensive tackle room was like, man, they keep doubling us and we can't do anything. Williams is like, how dare you disrespect me? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How dare you disrespect me with a double team? Light work. Exactly. Hey, Star Guardian, right on point. Right on point. No, this dude is different. But listen to Trey Wingo talk about Quentin Williams. Check this out.
Get rid of one of these guys in the offseason, you get some edge help. But I think Jerry really backed himself in a corner with the Micah situation.
Now, see, I don't agree with that. We're going to listen to him say some more, and I'll come in when they get there. I don't agree with that statement. I don't think Jerry backed himself into a corner with the Micah Parsons thing. But let's go ahead and let him play. Straight facts, homie. Okay, gotcha.
Let's get into what happened at the trade deadline, because I saw your tweet about the Cowboys' defensive line. I'm like, okay, you have my attention.
What's going on, Brandon
and they
Mills?
have the best defensive tackle rotation in football. What do you make of the myriad of moves the Cowboys have made after losing 2 straight games?
Well, I think it's one of those things where we all look at the trade deadline as a way to win now. And I think the Cowboys looked at it as a way, how can we improve our team now? But this is really for the long haul. In a perfect world, they would have beat Arizona. You come off the bye, you beat Vegas, and away they go. It didn't work out that way. But in the end, you still make these moves because your defensive tackle has been an issue for a while. Now you got Kenny Clark, you got Quentin Williams. I think they are the best defensive tackling combo in the National Football League. No disrespect to Jeffrey Simmons and T'Vondre Sweat or Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, but I just like the way these two play together. These two fit together. Let's see how they play together. Dallas. It was interesting from a move standpoint because they need edge rushers.
Yeah.
Like they need guys coming off the edge, but they bolstered the inside. So they're still not done building this defense. I think this is a move to kind of set up the next move, which probably is going to come in the offseason. I love to hear Jerry talk because eventually he's going to say something to kind of put his foot in his mouth. But it's always funny. It's entertainment. But I like the move because I think it starts to solidify a defense that's been porous for a long time.
Well, the
Now, I don't think Jerry Jones backed himself into a corner with the Micah Parsons trade. The Cowboys had an alternate plan that if they traded Micah Parsons, their goal was to stop the run. The simple answer is teams got smart. And the team that really exposed us was the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers were sending 2 and 3 players at Kenny Clark. They started doubling the defensive tackles of the Cowboys. Matt Eberflus's rush 4, drop 7 just was not working. And the reason why it was not working is because we got to be honest about this. Matt Eberflus didn't have the personnel to run the defense that he's trying to run. If you go back and look at the places that Matt Eberflus has been, Matt Eberflus has had pretty good players in certain positions that help those defenses be pretty good. But the Cowboys, man, we got to realize the Cowboys have a defense, man, it's a defense of leftovers from Dan Quinn. And the reality is that's what it is to me. The Cowboys defense, up until now, they're finally starting to flip it. But it's a defense of leftovers from Dan Quinn. That's what it truly is. And you will notice the Cowboys went to Zimmer, and now they went to Matt Eberflus. But we saw the same problem with Zimmer. Zimmer had a hard time getting this. Man, Zimmer had a hard time getting this defense out of the Dan Quinn mode. They loved the way Dan Quinn, even though Dan Quinn's defenses were kind of like fool's gold. Dan Quinn's defenses were not built to win in the playoffs. Dan Quinn's defenses were built for a lead. They were built to play with a lead, but they were not really the type of defenses that we already know. His defenses couldn't stop the run. Some of that is personnel, and I'm not going to blame Dan Quinn for all of that, but the way Dan Quinn coached his defenses, these guys just haven't been the same since Dan Quinn. And so now that they got Matt Eberflus, I do think one of the mistakes that they made is when they brought Matt Eberflus in, they didn't give Matt Eberflus the players. They wanted Matt Eberflus to come in with the players. Now, they gave him some players, but they gave him Jack Sanborn. They gave him Murray Jr. Both of those have not turned out. They gave him Kyer Elam. Kyer Elam didn't turn out. Who else did they give him? They gave him Peyton Turner. We don't even know what happened with Peyton Turner. Solomon Thomas did work out, even though he's not going to play this week because of a calf injury. But when you look at the fact, Trayvon Diggs coming off of an injury. Deron Bland injured at the beginning of the season. I mean, when you really start looking at what Matt Eberflus was dealing with, Matt Eberflus just wasn't going to be good with what he had. And we don't even want to talk about the safety. Man, we've been talking about the safeties before this man got here. If we're being honest with ourselves, people were complaining about the Cowboys safeties before this man got here. Some of this stuff we were already complaining about. But I think where people are perturbed at Matt Eberflus is because he wouldn't make the adjustments. He wouldn't make the adjustments. He would rather continue to beat his head against the wall. And I think that's where people were pretty mad. But at the end of the day, man, Matt Eberflus hasn't had the players. But now he got the players. Now he's got some of the players. So there better be something that we see different. But I do think that Booger McFarland is bringing up a great argument because if the Cowboys decide to go with all three of them, I wouldn't be mad. But at the same time, Man, somebody might have to go. If they decide to move up one of those tackles, I'll be honest with you. I like Oso Digizua, but it's hard to find one Tex in this league. It's hard. I mean, if I'm the Cowboys, I'm gonna tell you who I'm keeping. I'm keeping Kenny Clark. I'm keeping Kenny Clark and Quentin Williams if it's me. Straight up, I am. But again, we'll see how it turns out.
Defense has been terrible. There's no question about it. You know, the only defense was worse was the Bengals. So of course they traded for a Bengals defender. We can talk about that a little bit later. But my issue, first of all, is okay. To me, this is an indication that whatever you thought you were getting out of Kenny Clark wasn't working. Because
see, I don't agree with this. I don't agree with that. No, I think the Cowboys have been getting what they wanted out of Kenny Clark. I think what happened is teams got smart. Teams realized that he was their best defensive lineman, and they started going at him with two. And I think even with the Carolina, if you look at the tape, they went at him with three players sometimes. They were just basically outnumbered with that rush 4, drop 7. That's why they went to rush 5. And even that hasn't been just uber successful, but they've had some success with it. But that defense, I'm telling us, it is very susceptible to the pass, and especially play action. I see where the Cowboys, I see over the next 2 to 3 games, the Cowboys are going to start trying to move back to the rush 4, drop 7 as Jadeveon Clowney comes on, as Ezraku is coming on, and now you got Kenny Clark, Quentin Williams. That's a good combination to rush 4. I mean, when you think about Kenny Clark, Quentin Williams, both of them will require a double. What you going to do, double team both of them, and then the way Ezraku and now Jadeveon Clowney is playing? Yeah, I think the Cowboys are going to be able to do a little something if they decide to run that. And I think they're going to do it because you just can't put this defense in man-to-man the whole game. JCT Slice said, you ever notice how Stephen A keeps saying that Josh is bereft of weapons, but not Dak is bereft of a defense? The PR for Josh is insane. Man, let me tell you something. They want Josh Allen to be the face of this league so bad. The NFL wants Josh Allen to be the face of this league so bad, and I don't understand it. I don't. But they want him to be the face of it, and I'm telling you, he hasn't had, for what they try to make of him, he hasn't had the success that he should have had either. Definitely shouldn't have had that. He hasn't had the success either. Brandy said it's raining in Vegas, but I can't wait for Monday night. Yeah. What up, real estate vet? Let's go. Comedy Cowboy, what up with you? Good to see you. Big Rombowski said, well, when you got someone in charge of your player personnel department that can't draft on the defensive side, when you might as well use traits instead. Michael fell to the Cowboys on his draft night. Big Rombowski. Rombowski, I'm 100% agreeing with you. I said it before. If you can't draft them, trade for them. Straight up, bro. Ain't no use in beating your head against the wall. Hey, man. Can't draft them, trade for them. I'm glad the Cowboys have done this. They have failed on the defensive line at so many turns. Hey, man. You can't trade draft. I mean, if you can't draft them, trade them. I love what they did. Southside, yeah. Hey, J. Lou. Yeah, J. Lou was great. Yeah, J. Lou was great. I wish we'd have kept him. 72 Chevelle, this team's going to look different with William and Logan. This is exactly what Matt Eberflus needed. Mills talked about it up here earlier. He said defense needs good linebackers. In Indianapolis, they had 3-time Pro Bowler Darius Shaq Leonard, who was a beast from 2018 to 2021. Yeah. Mills. Personnel. Mills, you're right. Personnel. And hey, I can agree with you if you say that Matt Eberflus didn't want to make adjustments. Matt Eberflus has been a part of the problem. I can agree with you on that. But I can also be reasonable and say, we didn't give this man the players. We didn't give this man the players. And I understand what Matt Eberflus did. Because if y'all remember, Mike Zimmer had regrets last year towards the end of the season. What did Mike Zimmer say? I wish I would have implemented my own system earlier. What did Matt Eberflus do? Matt Eberflus came in off the rip and tried to implement his defense. But, there's a but. I believe Nate Newton is 100% right. Brian Schottenheimer had the luxury of the continuity of being with the Cowboys 3 entire seasons, being the offensive coordinator, being able to implement some things with Mike McCarthy, the continuity of the offense. They didn't change. I mean, just looking at Brian Schottenheimer's play calling so far, they're not too far away from Mike McCarthy. They're not really that far away from Mike McCarthy, guys. Brian isn't looking as dynamic as I thought he was going to look. Let's see what happens the second half of the season. But Brian Schottenheimer, and we're talking about the dropping of the last 2 games. Man, the defense was already bad. Stop it. What really was the big change the last 2 weeks is the offense fell off a cliff. The offense has fallen off the cliff. Let me tell y'all something. We're talking about the defense. My eyes is going to be on Brian Schottenheimer's offense. I know we don't want to admit it, but that offense has been terrible. That offense has been atrocious. Man, Brian Schottenheimer has been so predictable. First, we tried to attribute it to, it's the Denver Broncos. Okay, last time I checked, the Arizona Cardinals were not world beaters. You're not going to convince me that Sam Darnold and what he had lit up the Arizona Cardinals, and then what we have with Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, and we're talking about that's the best wide receiver duo, top 3 wide receiver duo in the league, and you're telling me that Sam Darnold goes out there and lights up Arizona. I'm not buying it. Some of that is Brian Schottenheimer's play calling too. That's what my eyes are on this week. I think the defense can't help but go up. Man, you add Quentin Williams, Logan Wilson, Overshown, Revel, Kalen Carson, you add those pieces, it can't help. Not to mention, you're going against literally one of the worst offenses. I mean, you're going up against the Raiders are going to give you so many opportunities because their offense is so bad. Their offense is so bad, the defense by default. the defense by default. This is why I'm telling everybody, what you see this week from the Cowboys against the Raiders, please take that with a grain of salt. The Raiders are awful. The Raiders are awful offensively. So the Cowboys, with the addition of these new players, they should look pretty doggone good. They should look pretty good against the Raiders. It's not the Raiders game is not the one I'm going to use. The game that I'm going to be looking for is what does this defense look like against the Eagles? Because that's going to tell me what I need to know. The Raiders, that's the warm-up game. That's the game fresh off of Marshawn Nealon. That's the game where the Cowboys' energy should be at an all-time high. That's the game, the moment of silence. That's the game I believe the Cowboys are going to come out there and they're going to lay it down defensively. I want to see what Brian Schottenheimer does offensively because I'm telling y'all, this dude, Pete Carroll, yeah, he know him too. If anybody know Brian, it's Pete Carroll. Brian's going to have to show Pete Carroll something different. You're going to show him something different because if not, it's going to be tough.
Because you brought in Kenny Clark basically to shore up the run defense, and their run defense has been absolutely awful.
Not agreeing with that.
So now you're sort of doubling down on that move by getting Quinnen, who, by the way, I want to be clear, I love Quinnen Williams as a player. I think he's been a wrecking force on a miserable Jets team for a lot of years. But for just being honest about it, he had 1 sack on the first play of the season this year, and I think he's 90th in pressures this year. So the Quinnen Williams I think we think about isn't the Quinnen Williams that's been on the field this year. And maybe a change of scenery will help that. I can certainly understand that. But it's not like he's going from a 1-17 to a 7-1 team. It's a 3-5-1 team that has all kinds of issues. To me, Booger, it feels like the Cowboys are constantly reacting instead of enacting. They're
not buying it. I'm not agreeing with Trey Wingo on this. Stephen Jones talked about it yesterday or the day before. The Cowboys inquired about Quinnen Williams when they did the Michael Parsons trade. The Jets is who they were trying to trade with first. They were already trying to get Quinnen Williams. The Quinnen Williams move is not a knee-jerk reaction. The Cowboys were already trying to do it. What happened is, after the Cowboys and the Jets both realized that they probably needed to start over, don't have the quarterback, and they were already they're already got a terrible season going. They decided, let's get from up under some of these contracts and let's just start over. Let's trade away the franchise cornerback. Let's trade away the franchise defensive tackle. And that's exactly what they did. The Cowboys tried to do that move from the get-go because I do believe the Cowboys had intently decided they wanted to stop the run. Because with Michael Parsons, they were not stopping the run, so they said we want to stop the run with whoever we get. Not only that, how long had Jerry already been saying, we're going to use those 2 picks we got from Michael Parsons to improve the team this year? Had been saying that. This is not a knee-jerk reaction. They were not painted in the corner by the Michael Parsons thing. The Cowboys had already decided that if we're going to get rid of Michael Parsons, we're going to try and stop the run. They got Kenny Clark. Team started double-teaming Kenny Clark. Nobody else could beat the singles at that point in time. So now they went in and bought Quinnen Williams. And this dude is going to eat double teams. You watch what I tell you. The Big Rombowski said Kenny Clark went down during the New York Jets game. He only missed a few plays, if I remember correctly, but he was never the same in the weeks later. Maybe that was a big part in the bye week will help. Yeah, I think it's going to help him out. Yeah. Jerome says, G, do you think we can get a good production out of our tight end and 13 personnel with Jaden Blue motioning out to wide to create matchup issues? I'll tell you this. Spanford, the Cowboys need to give Spanford some more snaps. Spanford is a monster out there blocking. And if I'm them, Spanford is lining up on the same side as Crosby. And if I'm the Cowboys, I would run Jaden Blue out there. I'd run Jaden Blue out there. I'd line Jaden Blue up out in the slot out there. The Cowboys have a lack of utilization of speed. They have yet to utilize Kevontae Turpin's speed on offense, and they refuse to utilize Jaden Blue's speed on the offense. The Cowboys, when you look at it speed-wise, teams are forcing the Cowboys to keep everything underneath. They're going to continue to do, and the Raiders, you watch what I tell you, what the Raiders are going to do. They're going to crash down on that Cowboys offensive line, and they're going to take away. Pete Carroll knows who Brian Schottenheimer is. He's going to take away those between the tackle runs. You watch what I tell you. And if Brian Schottenheimer doesn't figure out a way to run that ball on the edges, if he doesn't find a way to run on the outside, and if he doesn't find a way to get some deep shots and loosen up that shell coverage, if he doesn't find a way to loosen up the Raiders, I'm telling you, we're going to watch the same thing. We're going to watch the Cowboys score 17 to 20 points. Brian got to open this thing up. He's got to find a way to open this thing up, man. Teams have caught on to him. I'm telling, man, this people got a little bit, I understand people got a little bit out of shape because I don't go along and say what everyone else is saying. But my last 2 post-game live streams, I've said the same thing 2 weeks in a row. Brian Schottenheimer got out-coached. There was no excuse for the Cowboys not to eat up the Broncos when Patrick Surtain went out, and we couldn't even take advantage of it. There is no way the Arizona Cardinals should have held the Cowboys offense to 3 points in the second quarter and a touchdown in the fourth quarter. There is no way we should have let that team hold us like that. The offense scored 10 points against Arizona. Seahawks went out there and lit them up. I'm not worried. I'm just telling you, I'm not worried about the Cowboys defense because it has no choice but to improve. We've been rolling gutter balls. You bring in Quentin Williams and Logan Wilson, bring back Overshown, Savon Revel Jr. Man, you at least gonna knock over 3 pins. And the Oakland, man, the Las Vegas Raiders offense is putrid. When I tell y'all it's putrid, we already went through the numbers. It's putrid. Take this game with a grain of salt as it applies to the Cowboys defense. Because Cowboys defense could absolutely look like a Super Bowl defense this week against the Raiders. I'm telling y'all, man, the Raiders are terrible. Now, we've made terrible teams look good. I don't think it's going to happen with Quentin Williams. Not with Quentin Williams and Logan Wilson. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't. Lock and D says Shotty's not terrible. I don't think he's terrible. I just think the teams have caught on to him. Shotty's not terrible. You just need to settle down his play calling. He's scared at the goal line. He's trying to be pass happy. Man, I do not understand what he does at the goal line. We've been bad on third down too. Tuck, what's going on? I agree with you. Force feeding CD. This has been a big debate here lately. Force feeding CD when you have George Pickens, not throwing shade at CD. There are 2 different receivers, and that's not a bad thing. Just use the weapons efficiently. Tuck, I said it yesterday, and I'm going to say it again. We don't have to have the discussion of which one of these receivers are better, but we do need to have an honest conversation about what is better for the team. And what's better for the team right now is that there is no answer for George Pickens. With Dak Prescott, there is no answer. And because there's no answer, you need to feed George Pickens. And then you make them roll all the coverage to George Pickens. That'll open up Ferg. That'll open up CD and let CD do what he does best, run after the catch, eating inside of the boundaries, eating inside of the middle of the field. Let him do it. But let George Pickens open your offense up on the outside. But again, I digress. Back to what he's saying about this thing with Jerry and this thing with Quentin Williams. No, the Cowboys had already tried to get Quentin Williams, and they wound up circling the block on him because they couldn't get Max Crosby. So they circled the block back around, and they went and got Quentin Williams. It was always the plan. It was the plan. It's the backup plan to Quentin. The backup plan to Max Crosby. It was the backup plan, and the Cowboys accomplished it. I'm not agreeing with him.
They're trying to chase their own tail with all of these moves.
Well, think about this also. They signed Odigizua in the offseason. So
big
now
contract.
So now you have Odigizua, you have Kenny Clark, and you have Quentin Williams, and I think they're all making above $10 million a year. Quentin is making 20. Odigizua is close to 20. I don't think they're going to keep 3 defensive tackles making that much money. So
they can't.
Maybe this was a move, as I said, to kind of set up the next move. You get rid of one of these guys in the offseason, you get some edge help. But I think Jerry really backed himself in a corner with the Micah situation.
Don't agree. I do not agree. This is the cruel reality nobody wants to accept. Last year, with Micah Parsons at this time, and even though Micah got injured, but we were getting mollywopped before he got injured. The Cowboys were 3-6. We're 3-5-1. The Green Bay Packers last year at this time, they were 6-3. The Packers are 5-3-1. The reality is, Jerry was not hating on Micah Parsons. But the problem with Micah Parsons, and this isn't even a Micah Parsons problem. This is a problem with many defensive players. They're not force multipliers. That's the problem. They are not ball-dominant players. When you pay money to a non-ball-dominant player, that becomes an issue. Because how do they change the game for you? And the real issue with Michael Parsons, because the Cowboys realized something. They look better with Michael Parsons, but are we better with Michael Parsons? And that's what Green Bay is going to have to start asking themselves after this season. We'll see how the rest of the season turns out. Michael Parsons at this point is that player that you have on your team. You look better with him, but then you got to start asking yourself, are you better with him? Because even if someone says, well, Jordan Love is the problem. Yeah, but that's also the Michael Parsons problem. Because if Jordan Love isn't good, then how does Michael Parsons offset Jordan Love by still helping you to win? He doesn't. He doesn't. Because he didn't do it here. Not because he's not good, not because he's not great. But teams found ways in big games. I don't think it's because Michael Parsons laid down. We got to say this stuff for the people who get sensitive. Michael didn't lay down. No, teams figured out how to do what the Cowboys did when they played the Green Bay Packers. They figured out how to take Michael Parsons out of games. And if you look at let me just tell you what the Cowboys did when we played Green Bay. The Cowboys went back, looked at the tape on Michael Parsons where other teams took Michael Parsons out of the game, and they did the same thing. They chipped him. They lined the tight end up on his side. Some of it was getting the ball out of the Dak Prescott got the ball out of his hands quick. Some of it was footwork by Dak Prescott, stepping up, stepping back, stepping to the side, scrambling, taking a hit, throwing. But Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys found ways to nullify Michael Parsons. And so what I'm saying is very simple. Michael is that player you look better with. But you got to start questioning yourself on, are we better with him? Especially if we don't have everything, quote unquote, that we need on offense. And so, man, you got to start questioning yourself when you spend that kind of money on a player, especially a defensive player who is not ball dominant, who's not picking out passes, who's not like Deion. I just keep going back to Deion. Because Deion is one of those players in these modern day times, you would probably pay a Deion Sanders that kind of money in these day and time, because Deion transcends every generation. Deion shuts down one side of the field. Deion plays wide receiver. Man, no one has ever done it like Deion. I don't think anyone will ever do it like Deion again. Shuts down one side of the field, plays wide receiver, can play kick return, can play punt return, can turn a game in a moment's notice. Michael is one of those players you look better with, but you have to question yourself that if you don't have everything you need, are you better with him? Now, you put Michael Parsons on the perfect team, and he probably rocks out. But at this point in time, man, people are asking themselves, I'm telling you, Green Bay is asking themselves this question. Matt LaFleur, you're on the hottest of hot seats, bro. Because we're not better at this point with Michael Parsons. We'll see what happens with the rest of the season. But I'm not agreeing with Trey Wingo, because Big Rumbowski makes a great point in here. Rumbowski makes a great point. He said if Quinnen Williams' contract was expiring at the end of the 2025 season, then Wingo's comments make sense. However, that's not even close to being the case, and so he simply sounds like a complete clown. I agree. No, the Cowboys got him for this year, and they got him for the next 2 to 3 years. So the Cowboys know exactly what they're doing. Quinnen Williams was not an afterthought. The Cowboys were trying to get him when they first made the Michael Parsons trade. Tristan York, appreciate that super chat. Said, what's good, G? He said, I'm truly excited to see this defense hit the field Monday night. Agent Zero's leadership and intensity is going to be on full display. Tristan York. The defense was going to be better just by getting DeMarion Overshown back out there with his spirit and his leadership. Now they've added again, like I keep saying, Savon's back. Kalen Carson looks pretty good. You got Quinnen, you got Logan. The defense was already going to look good. But I'm going to take it with a grain of salt this week, Tristan. I just am. Because the Raiders' offense is putrid. Now, I'll tell you this. If Matt Eberflus comes out here and lets Geno Smith and this offense light him up, boy, he going to have some problems. I don't think the Cowboys have any intent on getting rid of him. But, boy, this one right here, boy, he better go out there and do his thing. He better go out there and do his thing, and that is for show. What up, Bernard Fields? Marco Williams, he said Blue got hot. The ball. If Blue never fumbled, he would have had a higher chance. We're gonna see what he does with Blue, but he's got to utilize Blue's speed. Stop trying to run him like he's Javonte Williams. He's not Javonte Williams. They gotta stop trying to run him like he's Javonte Williams. He's not Javonte Williams. You got to run him like he's Jaden Blue. Look at what he did at Texas and use him like they used him in Texas, and that's the only way you can do it. Yeah, Dominique, if they let the Raiders look good, boy, shoot. Dominique, man, let me tell you something. I believe the Cowboys, they're not expecting again. I don't think they're expecting the 85 Bears. But this Raiders offense is pretty bad. The offensive line is banged up. Guys, I'm telling you, if the Cowboys don't get 5 or 6 sacks, it will be a letdown. They got a patchwork offensive line. Ashton Genty can't run behind it. Geno Smith can't be protected behind it. And it's not like, y'all tell me who the wide receivers are, because it's not like they got superstar wide receivers. Their tight end, who is a great tight end, he's coming off of injury. There is no way they better light the Cowboys up. There is no way they better light the Cowboys up, or I do think Matt Eberflus will be in some serious, serious trouble. I do think he'll be in some serious, serious trouble.
Correct.
And he needed to show everybody, hey, I didn't pay Micah, but
Don't
I'm
agree
willing
with
to
that.
spend money and make moves to make my team better. And at the last minute, you go out, you get Quinnen Williams.
Wasn't a last minute move.
I like Logan Wilson. I think he's played a lot of good football. He wasn't playing in Cincinnati, so maybe that's why the defense was terrible up there. Who knows? But yeah. I think Logan Wilson still has some good football in him, especially when you don't know what you're going to get in DeMario Overshown coming off a horrific knee injury. So this is definitely a move to kind of calm the waters a little bit, but by no way, shape, or form is this a playoff-type defense now, which is why I think this was a move to set up whatever they're going to do in the offseason.
Yeah, and
Don't agree. I think two things can be true. These moves are 2-3 year moves. But to say that the Cowboys is not a playoff defense without watching them play, I'm not buying that yet. I'm not buying the Cowboys are not a playoff defense. And the reason why I'm not buying it is because if Brian Schottenheimer gets this thing turned back around, if Brian Schottenheimer gets this offense going again, a playoff defense for the Cowboys is different than a playoff defense for other teams. If he can get this team back to 30-plus points per game, which they should very well be capable of, especially if they start giving George Pickens the ball like they should, then the Cowboys should be able to get back up to about 30-plus points. Then this defense, in reality, only has to hold teams to about 20 points. If this defense could just hold teams to 20 points, the Cowboys could go easily on a 7 or I'm telling you, I believe they could win 7 of the last 8 if they could literally hold teams from this point forward to 20 points or less, because the offense is that good. At least I say the offense is that good because the last 2 weeks, guys, it just hasn't been good. Brian Schottenheimer, I'm telling y'all, I'm not worried about the defense as much because the defense has already been bad. They don't have no choice but to be better. I think they will be better. But what I'm most concerned about is the bread and the butter. I'm worried about the meat and potatoes. That's the offense. The defense, no matter how much it improves, the defense is not taking us to the playoffs. The defense will help us if it can keep teams to about 20 points. But it was like this from the beginning. This team was going to the playoffs because of the play of Dak Prescott and those two wide receivers, and then everything else complementing that. So if we want to go to the playoffs, no, Brian's got to get that system back running. That's what he got to get back running. Because I'm telling you now, the defense is going to improve. I don't see any way that it can't. Quinnen Williams is Matt Eberflus proof. I'm telling us he's Matt Eberflus proof. Quinnen Williams is going to do his thing. You watch what I tell you. Q-Town said he can't stand Wingo and McFarland. He said they just told him the narrative about Parsons. That's why G spitting straight facts. Man, you can tell they sound like two people. They just sound like two people who, it's like, hey, we just want to make some headlines. You know, they started off with the best defensive tackle duo, only to just bash the Cowboys the rest of this conversation.
I think what you just said, and I'm glad you said it because I say it and people yell at me. What you said is really accurate. I think Jerry does things to get attention. He does.
You don't get Quinnen Williams to get attention. You don't get George Pickens to get attention. You don't get Logan Wilson to get attention. You get those players to win. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. You don't get Quinnen Williams to get attention. The Cowboys were already tried to get Quinnen Williams when they first went out for the trade. The Cowboys, like they did with George Pickens, circled the block and came back and got Quinnen Williams. This is inaccurate. I appreciate some of Trey Wingo's reporting, but you can just tell by what he said, I think. I'm not thinking, I know. Because this talk about Quinnen Williams, we heard it early on. Quinnen Williams' name came up when Michael Parsons first started talking about getting traded, and it was clear that they said they were not. The Jets at that time said they were not trading Quinnen Williams. They said they were not. And understand this, the Jets were not going to give up Quinnen Williams and 2 first-round draft picks because now we see they were trying to get draft picks. Not buying it. Not buying it, Trey Wingo. I'm not buying it, Booger McFarland. I appreciate y'all football acumen. I'm not buying it. Jerry was not trying to get attention. No, Jerry is trying to stop the run because that's been the Cowboys' Achilles heel. And if you go and check Super Bowl teams, Super Bowls are won at the defensive tackle position. We've watched this now for the last few years. It's been these teams with these great defensive tackles that have been winning Super Bowls. Chris Jones. I mean, we watched the Eagles last year with their great defensive tackle play. I mean, we've been watching this year after year after year and haven't even been paying attention. The Rams, Aaron Donald, anybody. I mean, go look at these teams that are winning Super Bowls. They're not winning these Super Bowls with these great edge rushers. They're winning the Super Bowl with great defensive tackle play, which enhances if you just got good edge rushers. Anybody notice how Jadeveon Clowney is starting to get better and better every week? Because he's eating off of some of the defensive tackle play, and it's only going to get better. He's only going to get better. Ezraku's only going to get better because now they got a defensive tackle that not only takes double teams, but he eats double teams. Shoot, Cowboys, the defense going to look better. My main concern for the Cowboys right now is the offense. That's my main concern.
Those things say, okay, people are still mad about the Micah thing. Let me do this. And to me, that's not a fundamental way to build a winning program. And
Trey Wingo doesn't understand, though. A lot of people were not as mad about the Michael Parsons trade. And 105.3 was even talking about how shocked they were. And even when people were calling in, there were not a lot of people who were upset about the Michael Parsons trade. The media was more upset about the Michael Parsons trade than the actual fan base. I mean, because a lot of people were shocked at how the fan base were not upset about the Michael Parsons trade. It continues to be the media. And they always want to circle back on the Michael Parsons thing. But the Michael Parsons trade is not why the Cowboys are losing. It's not why the Cowboys are losing. The defense would have looked better, but the wins would have been the same, I believe. I believe the wins would have been the same. And because we saw this defense, we saw Mike Zimmer last year, and they struggled all the way up until Thanksgiving. And they still continue to lose even after then. So I'm not buying it.
You know, Jerry's never not going to be the general manager. We all have to accept that. But there's not a single general manager in any of the major sports franchises in this country that would not have a conference championship appearance over 3 decades and still have his job.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
Jerry is there because Jerry is employing Jerry. And let's
I
just be
agree
honest about it. I mean, that's the way it is.
Yeah,
there's no other situation where this would be considered acceptable if you are the general manager and as well as the owner. So I feel bad for Cowboys fans. I really do, because I don't think they have a plan.
Don't feel bad for us. They got a plan.
They don't have a plan, but has Jerry really had a plan in the last 25 years? Like we've tried a bunch of different things, but I think here's what he's hit on. He's got a franchise quarterback who's playing above average football, at times MVP level, but definitely above average football. He probably paid $10 million too much for him, but that's Jerry. He'd rather wait and pay him a little more. No problem with that. He's got to pay George Pickens, because that really took off when you gave him 2 weapons outside. So are you going to pay George Pickens? George Pickens is not going to play for $20 million, especially when the top receivers are making 35 and 40. So now when you start to look at this team, you got 3 defensive tackles over $10 million. You got CD at 35. You got a quarterback at 60. Can you keep George Pickens? So, there are a lot of moves that have to go on. Wilt McClay, who is the de facto GM, along with Jerry and Steven, are going to have to figure out this money situation, because they pay some.
Stop it. Salary cap isn't even real. Stop it. The Cowboys can do any doggone thing they want to do. If the Cowboys want to keep Oso Digizua, Kenny Clark, and Quentin Williams, they can do it. They already have void years built in the Dak Prescott's contract, void years built in the CeeDee Lamb's contract, void years built into DeRon Bland's contract. Tyron Smith's contract has void years built into it, and his contract hasn't even kicked in yet. The Cowboys can do void years. They build this stuff into the contracts automatically. They even got to stop this. We got too much access to information now. The salary cap, you could almost say it's not even a real cap in the grand scheme of things. You can easily kick money down the road, convert money into signing bonuses. There is all kinds of trickery you can do with the salary cap. No, we're not buying this anymore. The Cowboys can sign everybody, including George Pickens. They can sign George Pickens. And I'm telling y'all now, I've been saying this from the beginning. All roads have always led to George Pickens. If George Pickens does not get signed by the Cowboys, it's an absolute failure. Every move they've made this year, it's an absolute failure if they don't sign George Pickens. George Pickens is the signing the Cowboys have to make. Because if they don't make that signing, all the rest of them are just, it's like they're for nothing, because there isn't a wide receiver. I'm just telling us, there is not a wide receiver we can get in the draft that will equal George Pickens. There is not a wide receiver we could get in a trade that could match George Pickens. There's not a receiver we're going to be able to get in free agency that can match George Pickens. Nobody has to agree. But I'm telling us right now, George Pickens is a top 4 wide receiver in this league right now. George Pickens is a top 4. And if it was not for us trying to balance this thing out between CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, I'm telling us right now, George Pickens might be having a historical, man, he might be having a historical season right now. George Pickens at the midpoint might be at 1,000 yards. 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns, 9, 10 touchdowns. George Pickens has literally been that unstoppable. It will be a total failure if the Cowboys don't sign George Pickens. I'm sorry, there isn't a wide receiver out there the Cowboys could get. There isn't a wide receiver out there. And I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. The Cowboys are going to have to face what I call the cruel reality. They very well. I said it, and people say, hey, Dominique Pimpin, you know, me and you, boy, hey, we brothers. I don't have no problem with you disagreeing or anybody else disagreeing with what I'm about to say. But I've already told y'all this. The Cowboys just may have to face the facts on George Pickens. If you want to keep George Pickens, you're going to probably have to make him the top paid wide receiver in the league. I've already told y'all this. Have I not already told y'all this? The Cowboys are going to have to make George Pickens the top paid wide receiver in the game. In the game. And at the minimum, y'all ready for this? At the minimum, they got to pay George Pickens more than they're paying CeeDee Lamb. They have to. There are no options. They have to. And George Pickens understands this because George Pickens already said in his own interview, he wants George Pickens to succeed. He don't care if the Cowboys have to make him the highest paid wide receiver in the league. They got to keep him. That's the only way they are going to keep him. Guys, we already know how David Mulugeta plays hardball. David Mulugeta is not going to let the Joneses. David Mulugeta's not going to let Jerry Jones franchise George Pickens. He can't stop him from franchise tagging him, but he'll have a way of keeping him off the field. Watch what I tell you. It'll be the worst thing the Cowboys will do. Now, if you want to just hit George Pickens on a franchise tag immediately after the season is over so you can start negotiating, I mean, you can do what you want to do. But if I'm the Cowboys, man, I wouldn't even sweat it. I said it before, I'll say it again. I would go to George Pickens and David Mulugeta right now. Right now. I would make George Pickens the highest paid wide receiver in the league right now. I know y'all don't have to agree, but I would do it right now. There are some things that there is no point in fighting. And there is no point in the Cowboys fighting what they're going to have to do to sign George Pickens. I would go ahead and try to bite the bullet now, because if you try to let this thing play out, it's no telling. Well, let me tell you something. The one thing the Cowboys don't want to do is let this dude, George Pickens, boy, if the Cowboys would let George Pickens get out there on the open market after what he's did with Dak Prescott with this little bit of time, boy, y'all don't want to see Andy Reid with George Pickens. We don't want to see Andy Reid. We don't want to see Sean McVay. We don't want to see Kyle Shanahan. We don't want to see offensive coordinators with that ilk to get a hold of George Pickens. Because I'm telling us, I don't think he'll play on a franchise tag. I don't think he'll play on it. I think he'll find a way not to play on it. I don't think he'll play on it. Shoot, Big Rumbowski said again. He said, I think DFW sports fans were more outraged at the Luka trade than the Michael trade. Facts. All right, let me go to some super chats real quick. Tristan York, he said, Jerry did a phenomenal job this year. Sign Pickens. Tristan York, he has to. Rod, what's going on? 100 on the line twice. Yes, sir. I'm telling us, man. Now, Jerry's got a plan. And I said this last year. Now, they got a plan. You don't have to like the plan. Jerry's always had a plan. You don't have to like the plan. Jerry wants to do it his way. Now, Jerry got a plan. And I'm telling us, I do believe the plan is to sign George Pickens. Ron Bowski said technically Jerry doesn't have to sign Pickens because he can always use the franchise tag. It would be a more costly move, but it's still a tool that can be used. Big Ron Bowski, I'll just be upfront with you. I wouldn't even play with it. Because you already know, you do them franchise tags, that money comes right off the top of the cap. You don't get to kick that money down the road. That money is coming per game. Nah, from the Cowboys, shoot, I'm going to go. Man, there are just certain things. Man, you take your car to the mechanic. It's broke down. And they tell you the repair is going to be $2,500, $3,500. You go everywhere else, and man, everybody's telling you, some telling you the same thing, some telling you more. Man, there's just certain things you just say, man, forget it. When they tell you the price, if it's going to fix the problem, is this going to fix the problem? And I'm not going to have to revisit this. Man, here, go ahead and do it. Shoot, go ahead and do it. Dominique Pippen said, while I don't agree with paying Pickens the top wide receiver money, he said CD out of his own mouth said whatever it takes to keep him. Yes, sir. Even if that means paying Pickens more than Lamb. So get it done, Jerry. Hey, Dominique. CD Lamb is not dumb. CD Lamb is looking at how this man's performing. He's looking at the market. And he understands how this goes. Pay the man. I'm telling you, I wouldn't even play with this. And not only that, let me tell you another reason why I would pay George Pickens. The Cowboys are going to make a ferocious Super Bowl run in 2026 and 2027. They need no distractions. Jerry has done a lot of great things. The speed bump in the road was the Michael Parsons thing. But then he went forward. He signed Bland, I think Ferg signed before, signed Bland, signed Ferg, signed Smith. I mean, you got Kenny Clark in the trade. Now you went and got Quentin Williams. Jerry, just keep going on the trajectory you're going on. No more drama. Don't even take George Pickens through the nonsense. Pay George Pickens. Big Rombowski said, yes, there are a lot of tricks to be used to sneak around the salary cap. Roseman uses them masterfully, but I got no faith that Cowboy Steven has the IQ to do the same. Yeah. You got to use whatever you can. Ben Dooley said, what up, G? He said, Cowboys front office drafted Jaden Blue for two things, speed and elusiveness. Coach Shot is using him for another thing. Big back, there lies the problem. I said the same thing, Ben Dooley. He wants him to be the running back. He wants him to be another Javonte Williams. But I'm telling us now, if we don't change up and start trying to get some outside runs, no, teams are just going to continue to get smart on us, and we're going to be stuck like Chuck, like we've been the last two games offensively. No, Brian said he's going to be multiple. Bro, you got to get you an outside run game too. You can still punish teams on the inside and have you an outside run game. Marco, you said it, I didn't. Marco said Michael ain't done nothing. Man, I'm just telling this, man. Yeah, hey, football, we can't. No, if we let Pickens walk, none of this stuff matters. Pickens has literally changed the Cowboys offense. Now we just got to get Brian to do what he did in 2023. Okay, Brian, they're on to you. Now you got to put some wrinkles in this thing. Now you got to add some wrinkles. You got to stop letting teams dictate to you what you're going to do with the best wide receiver duo in the league. I wouldn't take any duo in the league over CD Lamb and George Pickens. There's no duo I would take. Superstar Status said, I hope they can re-sign GP without tagging him. They got to. They have to. Hopefully they find a way to keep Kenny Clark to play besides Williams and just trade Osa. And do we get a comp pick for losing Nealon? Or I'm not sure on Nealon. But I tell you this, I know there are some people that would disagree with this, and I don't have no problem with it. But I've already said, if I'm the Cowboys and I got to choose between Kenny Clark and also Diggy Zua, I'm taking Kenny Clark. Now, I would try, if I could, I'd try to keep all three. I just think it does you good to keep all three. Along with Solomon Thomas. I'd keep all four of them and still try to keep Perion Winfrey in there. I would keep that. I mean, it's just incredible. If you can keep that, man, you're going to be on to something next year. Well, shoot, you're going to be on to something next year. So if I'm the Cowboys, I try to keep all of them. I would. I would try to keep all of them. Big Rumbowski, I hate to agree with you on this one, but it's probably true. He said after the Parsons drama, there's no way Mulugheta's going to let Pickens sign midseason. They'll wait to get offers from other teams to drive up the price in the offseason. Well, the Cowboys do get the franchise tag on them, but they got to sign Pickens. If not, it's just going to be you're back to square one if you don't sign George Pickens. And that's why if I were the Cowboys, I'd start swinging now. If I'm the Cowboys, I would start swinging now. I'm not waiting until we get to start seeing what other people are going to offer for him, because if we do, it'll be a problem. But then the Cowboys will put the franchise tag on him. But then I could see a world that if the Cowboys would have put the franchise tag on him, and if they figured like they couldn't sign him, they might wind up trading him away. And I just don't think you're going to get I don't think you're going to get a better wide receiver too over George Pickens. And he's not even a wide receiver too. You're just not going to get another complimentary receiver to CeeDee Lamb like George Pickens.
Young offensive lineman. I tell you the worst money I think they spent.
Uh-oh. Are y'all ready for this? The worst money the Cowboys spent. Boy, Booger McFarland is about to go off on this. Check this out.
You tell me if you agree with this.
Yeah.
I think in a private moment, if you asked them if they could rip up the contract of Trayvon Diggs and DaRon Bland, I think they would, even though they just paid one of them.
Whoa! Whoa! Y'all tell me what y'all think. The worst contracts the Cowboys made were signing Trayvon Diggs and DaRon Bland. Wow. I had to really think about that one. The Trayvon Diggs contract, I don't care what anyone says. The Trayvon Diggs contract has been a disaster. Not because of his play, but your best ability is availability. This dude got the contract and we ain't seen him. Trayvon Diggs got the contract and we haven't seen him. Trayvon Diggs has literally played the equivalent of one season with all that guaranteed money. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if the Cowboys could go back, but hindsight is 2020. When the Cowboys signed Trayvon Diggs was a top cornerback in the league. Trayvon Diggs was top 5. But since then, man, Trayvon Diggs ain't been nothing but people trying to defend who he used to be. That's all Trayvon Diggs has been. And you can't control yourself getting injured, but it's just the truth. DaRon Bland has had a couple of injuries too. I like DaRon Bland. I think the Cowboys really didn't have a choice but to pay DaRon Bland, with as hard as it is to find cornerbacks in this league. But I just wonder. Yeah, McMahon, if you kind of listen to what I said, that's where I am. Trayvon Diggs' contract is a hindsight is 2020 contract. Trayvon Diggs was a top 5 cornerback when they signed him. Hindsight is 2020. Diggs has been injured ever since he got that contract. And I'm sure if Booger is right on that. And again, not because of performance, but simply because the dude hasn't played. Your best ability is availability. Trayvon Diggs hasn't been available. Yeah, Marco, you know what? I think the Cowboys they're going to probably concede that DaRon Bland is a better inside corner than an outside corner. It's not that Bland can't play outside corner, but people got to understand something about DaRon Bland. Shoot, DaRon Bland can make big plays, but he get big plays made on him. He was doing that in the year when he was doing that in the year he got the 6 interceptions and returned them for touchdowns. I think either Trey or Booger's going to say that. Check this out.
Because they reacted on the Deron Bland thing because of so much production. But he might have had
Exactly.
6 pick sixes, but he gave up 7 touchdowns also. So it's going to be interesting to see how they factor all these contracts out.
No, I'm glad you said that about Deron Bland because, look, they gave him, $90 million this offseason. And Deron Bland is a splash player both ways, right? Like, the reason that he had all those pick sixes because they weren't throwing the other way. Right, they thought they could burn him, and a couple of things went against him. I completely agree with you. The George Pickens thing, though, Booger, to me is really interesting on a variety of levels. You traded for him in the last year of his deal, right?
Yeah.
Which is basically, hey, let's figure this out for 1 year and see what happens. Well, now Pickens is exploding, and to your point, he's going to cost them if whoever Pickens plays for is going to be north of $30 million next year.
No doubt.
That's a minimum for him. Well, who is George Pickens' agent?
David Mulligetta.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. Who is Micah Parsons' agent?
David Mulligetta.
Now, I'm not saying agents hold grudges, okay? But I'm also not saying that David Mulligetta is going to be willing to do Jerry any favors here because of the way not only Jerry treated Micah, but in the very public way in which Jerry disrespected arguably the best agent in football through the entire process. And to me, because of that factor, I think if we're really thinking about the future, it would have made more sense to trade Pickens now than try and deal with him in the offseason, which is going to end poorly for the Cowboys.
It may end poorly, but this is all about the quarterback. And when you have Dak playing the way he's playing, which is arguably the best football of his career, I don't think you're going to upset the apple cart. I think they're going to find a way. And it's the old adage, like money, nothing says I'm sorry like another zero. Okay, add another zero. Nothing says I'm sorry like that. I think they find a way. The issue is going to be, how do you structure this team? 2 wide receivers, a quarterback that's going to be 30, and 60. That's kind of what the Bengals are doing right now. But the Bengals seemingly can't play defense. Well, Jerry went out. He's got 3 defensive tackles that are making above 10, 2 above 20. You got 2 corners that are high. Like, somebody's got to go. I'm just not sure who it's going to be.
No, they don't.
That, to me, is going to be fascinating.
It is, and it's going to be, this is not the first time the Cowboys have boxed themselves into a salary cap corner. I mean, they started when they paid Ezekiel. No,
we're not going to start this. Cowboys are not in no doggone salary cap corner. These guys ought to know better than this. Just go look at those contracts. Those contracts have void years built into them. They are designed to kick the money down the road so the Cowboys can do anything they want to do. This is no excuse. The Cowboys can actually sign all these players. The Cowboys can literally just at the snap of a finger can create $100 million extra in salary cap right now between CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, Bland, and Smith, already built into the contracts. Not buying it. If the Cowboys want to push them chips all in, which I believe they're going to push them chips all in, the Cowboys can push them chips all in, and I think that's exactly what they're going to do. No, not buying what they're saying about the salary cap.
Elliott before they paid Dak Prescott, which caused them to have to get rid of Amari Cooper, who had insane chemistry with Dak Prescott. That created the Dak Prescott situation.
No, the Amari Cooper thing actually wasn't money. Jerry said it was money. It wasn't money. We found out it was some personal issues going on.
Again, it just feels like we're trying to catch up instead of trying to move forward.
No.
The Cowboys, realistically, as it stands right now, do you think this Cowboys team make the playoffs?
No, I don't think they make the playoffs. I do think that they go into the offseason, though, they're in a better position in the offseason than they were. Because at least they have some talent in places. Maybe you don't play Overshown this year. Maybe you tell Overshown, you take the rest of the year off, you get healthy. So now you come back next year, Overshown, Logan Wilson, you pick whichever 2 defensive tackles you want, probably Quinnen and Kenny Clark. I don't know Kenny's deal. Kenny's probably got another year left in the deal. Maybe you get rid of Kenny and you go with Odigizua and Quinnen Williams. One's got to be able to play the 1 technique, the other the 3. If that's the case, you probably want Kenny Clark. Kenny Clark to me is a better nose tackle, 1 technique than he is a 3 technique. And then you got to figure out the corner situation, because I watched Marvin Harrison Jr. and that's the best game I've seen him play. Now, you can say Jacoby Brissett unlocked him, but he was making Deron Bland look like, man, it was chopped liver out there. So they got to figure out this defense because Dak, I think, is only going to get better. Dak is in a position now.
I do too.
He's about to get married. He's got 2 kids. He's settled down. I've been knowing Dak a long time. I've never seen him as focused. And so I think this level of football is only going to get better. So how do you take advantage of that if you're the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, Deron Bland unlocked Marvin Harrison Jr. It wasn't Jacoby Brissett. Let's just be honest about that. That was the key that opened that safe.
Give Deron Bland a break,
I think we can agree that while the Dallas Cowboys got some players and potentially some financial flexibility, we're still unclear what the plan is, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and Bernard, you know what? Let me tell you something, Bernard. You make a very good point here. Kalen Carson may actually be the key to all of this. People are saying that Kalen Carson looked pretty good last week. What if Kalen Carson actually turns out to be really good? Man, I'll be honest with you. I don't think there's no way Savon Revel Jr. don't. Barring injury, Savon Revel Jr., I believe, is one of them. The Cowboys are actually not supposed to have Savon Revel Jr. The Cowboys would not have been able to touch Savon Revel Jr. had it not been for an injury. And Savon Revel Jr. didn't have that same kind of injury like Jaden Smith or any other player where it's kind of questionable, nerve damage and all that stuff. Clean snap. Everything should be good, even though he is going to be playing with a knee brace. I think Savon Revel Jr. is going to be one of them. Man, if Kalen Carson and Josh Butler can come back and play really well, and then they can move the run blend back to the inside, man, the Cowboys will be working with something. But the Cowboys also, they got to get some safeties. Man, we're just going to have to face the facts. We're just going to have to face the facts on Donovan Wilson and Malik Hooker. Cowboys need to go get them some new safeties. It's just it. They just need to go get them some new safeties, bottom line. But they're stuck with him for now. But, Bernard, I think you make a good point on that. Jerome Miller, I don't think Trayvon Diggs could play safety. Trayvon Diggs don't hit good enough to be a safety. We've seen Trayvon Diggs hit this year, and Trayvon Diggs hurt himself hitting this year some. No, Trayvon Diggs couldn't play safety. Mac Man said the last thing I'm worried about is Jerry making the salary cap work. It's already built in. Cowboys can do anything they want to. Dimitri said he has some players, but there are still some missing pieces. Yeah, they still got to get some pieces. But they have no choice but to be better. Big Rabowski said inside, outside the run, cleats blend. He said the run, cleats blend, just need to stop letting other teams, rookie wide receivers, make his cleats fly up in the air. Hey, Big Rabowski, this is another reason why I don't think the Cowboys are going to play. I think they're going to start moving away from that five-man front, depending upon the situation. Because, simply because I don't think we have the corners that can play man-to-man yet, especially coming off all these injuries. Oh, yeah, Jordan Lewis hurt. I wish the Cowboys could have kept it. Thomas, you said it, I didn't. Thomas said he's tired of Diggs. Diggs is a bum. He said when he can't jump routes and get interceptions, then it's showing how his coverage skills and physicality is, showing how much he truly isn't nothing but an average corner. He lived off instincts. Yeah, Diggs got some pretty good instincts. He lived off instincts. And now that he's got the injury, though, the instincts are not quite there the way he needs them to be. Thomas said, and Carson is a much better corner than Diggs, and he's going to prove it. Man, hey, he looked pretty good. He's looked pretty good. Superstar status. Yeah, I think Reddy can play. Yeah, I wouldn't mind them playing Reddy at safety again. Man, he was bringing some heat in that Denver Bronco game. Gary Bookwalter, what up? He said, hit that like button. I agree. Bernard Fields. This draft is loaded on defense, so we might be okay. Couple that with free agency, I think we're going to be okay. Hey, I think we're going to be better than okay. I think the Cowboys will have a Super Bowl level defense. All right, man. I appreciate y'all rocking with me today. All 400 of y'all. Let's keep on rocking. Let's get to this thing about Matt Eberflus and Emmitt Smith. Emmitt Smith had some interesting things to say about Matt Eberflus, to say the least. This man Emmitt did not hold back. When Emmitt Smith was asked about Matt Eberflus, he did not hold back. Let's check out what Emmitt had to say about old Matt Eberflus. I'm gonna have to read it. It's not, as far as I understand, it's not an actual interview. But let me see if I can read it without laughing. Man, whenever these Hall of Fame running backs talk, these Hall of Fame players, ex-Cowboy players talk, man, I gotta listen. Man. These guys, I value a lot of things they say. It doesn't mean I say you have to go by it. Doesn't mean you have to agree. But I'm always interested in what they have to say. So it says here, Cowboys legend Emmitt Smith torches defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus' team's defense looks completely lost. Says here, Dallas Cowboys legend Emmitt Smith didn't mince words when discussing the current state of the team. Says while the offense performs just fine, the defense leaves a lot to be desired, with fans, analysts, and former players growing frustrated with the lack of stops from their D, with many blaming defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus for these performances. During a conversations with Cowboys Wire, Smith was strikingly critical of his former team. Okay, I think that's on DallasCowboys.com. Okay. Says, speaking on the defense, the three-time Super Bowl champion noted that it hasn't been the same in the last couple of years when Dan Quinn and Mike Zimmer were in charge of the unit. Says our defense does not look anything like our previous 2 or 3 years ago defense, Smith said, completely different. Now, I can agree with Emmitt on this, but we didn't look good last year. And Dan Quinn's defenses couldn't stop the run. I do think the defenses played better under Dan Quinn, but Mike Zimmer struggled all the way up until Thanksgiving last year. And the defense, it's hard to explain. But let's just say two things look bad, but one thing looks better bad. Zimmer looked better bad. Matt Eberflus looks bad, and Zimmer, compared to Matt Eberflus, looked better bad. Zimmer did more with less, where Matt Eberflus is refusing. And, I kind of look at Matt Eberflus kind of like he a little bit bougie. And this is what I mean by he a little bit bougie. Where Zimmer said, I'll do the best I can with what I have, Matt Eberflus, until the Cowboys really started getting at him, was kind of saying, I don't have what I need. So I'm not going to try to make all of these adjustments with what I have. Mike Zimmer said, I don't have what I need, but I'm going to do the best that I can with what I have. That's the difference between Matt Eberflus and Mike Zimmer. Both defenses look bad. Mike Zimmer just looked better bad, if that makes sense to you, what I'm explaining to you. Zimmer looked better bad. And Zimmer actually looked like, had they gave Zimmer one more season, Zimmer would have really had the defense rocking. But Zimmer didn't want to be a defensive coordinator for the Cowboys. Brian Broaddus kind of broke. The real deal was, and I don't blame Mike Zimmer, Mike Zimmer wanted to be the Dallas Cowboys head coach and not the Cowboys defense coordinator. But Emmitt says our defense does not look anything like our previous 2 or 3 years ago defense. Now, I can agree with that. Smith said completely different. But again, just take even that with a grain of salt. It says Emmitt Smith broke down what he's saying from the defense, directly pointing at Eberflus for failing to prepare his players. He said, do we look like we are completely lost? The Hall of Famer offered, I am befuddled at all of the things that are going wrong on the defensive side of the ball. We look very basic and very fundamental and very amateurish, if you will. Nothing sexy about it. And still the mistakes are being made, which is, to me, is a sign of poor coaching defensively. I can agree. But I also have to look at the other side of this. Some of this is the players. Some of this is the players also. Let me read a couple of super chats. Demetrius, what is going on? He said the league is doing everything in its power to make Josh Allen successful. Not to mention Buffalo and the Ravens have been the healthiest teams in the league dating back to 2017. Let me tell you something, Demetrius. You're exactly right. In those teams, you want to talk about failures? The Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens have been failures. Lamar Jackson, if he didn't get to the Super Bowl with the team he had last year, man, we're going to have to really start talking about if Lamar Jackson is ever going to get it done. That doggone team this man had last year was really good. I mean, it really was. Michael Winston said the Cowboys might want to think about making Bland free safety in 2026. He's a ball hog. Oh, okay. Talking about making Bland a safety. Okay. Put on a little weight. I could maybe see that. Dolores in it said, hey, G, let's go Cowboys. What's going on, Dolores? Thomas said, I like Bland, though, G. I think he's just playing scared at times and just has to snap out of it and play free. He will be good to go, I think. Thomas, I tell you what, he's going to get every opportunity the Cowboys will pay them. They're not going backwards. They're not going backwards. Marco said they playing Bland at the wrong spot. Look how Al Harris had Bland playing. Yeah, I think this defensive back. I don't know, man. Just kind of listening to what they were talking about last year, they were blaming some of the woes of the defensive backfield on Al Harris. Rombowski, he said Diggs refuses to tackle. He refused to tackle for the past few seasons now. You don't want someone that refuses to tackle playing safety. That's why I say he couldn't play. Yeah, he couldn't play. What's going on, Albert Donaldson? What's going on? All right, let's listen to let me read the rest of what Emmitt Smith said, because Troy Aikman has a rebuttal and I have a rebuttal too. It says here, numbers show Emmitt Smith is right. The Cowboys are second to last in both yards and points allowed per game this season. Only 5 teams have fewer interceptions and only 4 have fewer takeaways than the Dallas campaign. Following Dan Quinn's 3-year tenure as defensive coordinator, the Cowboys haven't been the same on defense. The departures of Michael Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Jordan Lewis played a role in their decreased level. I agree. And their defensive coordinator hasn't been able to bring the best out of this unit. But Troy Aikman has a different opinion from Emmitt Smith on Matt Eberflus' work. Contrary to his former teammate, Emmitt Smith, former Cowboys quarterback Troy Aikman supported Matt Eberflus, blaming lack of execution on the team's poor performance on defense on November the 3rd. Yeah. See, 2 things can be true. 2 things can be true. And that's the part people have to start accepting. People will want everything to be one way or the other. There are some things that can be one way or the other, but sometimes 2 things can be true. Some of what we're watching is execution. True Texan, he said, I hope Jerry and Eberflus find the recipe to cook. True Texan, Jerry's going to give him every opportunity. They do not want to bring another defensive coordinator in here. They don't want to do it, and they're going to do everything they can not to do it. The Cowboys are going to try to get Eberflus what he wants. And if you think about what the Cowboys have done, Quinnen Williams and Logan Wilson are Matt Eberflus friendly players. They are Matt Eberflus friendly players. And I'm telling y'all right now, this dude, Logan Wilson, is going to be the key to all this. He is going to be the key to all of this. Logan Wilson has a very high Q at the Mike linebacker position. All of this miscommunication you've been seeing and hearing about, some of that is going to go away with Logan Wilson. Logan Wilson has a very high football IQ. Logan Wilson is not the reason why the Cincinnati Bengals were playing bad. They had a new defensive coordinator come into town. He wanted to play with the young guys, and he was ready to move on from the guys like guys like Logan Wilson, but Logan Wilson was still their best player on defense. So Logan Wilson, you watch what I tell you. This defense is going to look better, especially by the time we hit the Philly game and the Chiefs game. Watch how the defense looks. Wilson going to have that thing together. Not to mention Demarion Overshown. He's been beside Matt Eberflus when he's calling the plays during training camp. He's been just they've been talking about how he is in the classroom, asking questions, answering questions, taking notes, explaining things. Demarion Overshown is going to be the leader of the defense and the leader they needed all along. So with the leadership of Overshown, the IQ and leadership of Logan Wilson, the leadership now of Quinnen Williams, and now Savon Revel Jr., kind of a quiet guy, but a dog on the field, the Cowboys are about to look so different down the stretch. Players make a difference, and I believe Matt Eberflus is going to look different going down the stretch. And if he don't, Cowboys may do what they don't want to do, and they may bring in another defensive coordinator, but I think they're going to do everything they can do not to do it. Troy Aikman says, Eberflus is a good defensive coordinator. Aikman said on 105.3 The Fan, he said he's proven that over the years, the frustrating thing, I think, for him and for the organization in general is that he's called things to keep from giving up certain plays, and yet they've given up those exact plays. That's exactly what I said. See, you got to understand where Matt Eberflus, and this is why I compare him to Mike Zimmer. I say he's a little bougie compared to Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer says, this is what I have. I'm going to do the best with what I have. I'm going to try to figure out a way to make it work. I'll make changes. I'll make adjustments. I'll do yada, yada, yada. Matt Eberflus, on the other hand, told us from the beginning in his first press conference, he said in order to do, because they was talking about stopping the run and all this stuff, he said you need players. And so if you look at the way Matt Eberflus has called his defense, the entire season up until the last two games, Matt Eberflus's point seems to not to be to do whatever I need to do to win with this defense, but rather point out that they can't run my defense. That seems to be what Matt Eberflus has been showing. But now the Cowboys are saying, no, we need you to try to win with what you have, and by the way, we'll get you a couple of pieces, and now you got some pieces coming back. Now, I said this before, whenever you're talking about these quote-unquote bend-don't-break defenses, you need a superstar in every position group. They're almost there. They're going to have to finish this in the offseason and in free agency and the draft. They got a superstar on the defensive, at the defensive line position or the tackle position. They got a superstar. They got a superstar in the making in Donovan Ezeraku on the edge. They got a superstar at the linebacker position with Demarion Overshown if he can stay healthy. They got a superstar potentially in Savon Revel Jr. at the cornerback position. The safety position is where they're going to have to figure out going into the offseason. But when you talk about these kinds of defenses that Matt Eberflus wants to run, you need super studs. I said this when I first talked about Matt Eberflus's defense. You need super studs all over the field. The Cowboys are getting there. Cowboys are getting there. Quinnen Williams, Kenny Clark, Ezeraku, Jadeveon Clowney is going to, he's turning it up. James Houston has been a real good surprise. I won't be surprised next year if the Cowboys go in the draft and try to get the best edge rusher in the draft to add to what they already have. Logan Wilson, I think the Cowboys will keep him another year. Demarion Overshown, of course, they already got him. They got Maurice Leofau. I think the Cowboys will probably go get them another linebacker in the draft. And I won't be surprised if the Cowboys try to get the best safety in the draft. They'll try to get the best safety in the draft. They'll probably also supplement with another cornerback, even though I think they're going to really see what Kalen Carson is. I think the Cowboys are high on Kalen Carson. I also think the Cowboys are extremely high on Savon Revel Jr. So We'll see what happens as they keep going, but they're getting to where they need to be. They're getting superstars in the position groups. That's what they're doing. So, again, I'm just telling y'all, let's take the Raiders game. Let's take the Raiders game with a grain of salt. They are putrid on offense. The Cowboys defense should absolutely do well against them. The Cowboys defense should absolutely do well. We're going to be coming in playing with a lot of energy, I believe, coming off of the Marshawn Kneeland thing, the dedication. I think the Cowboys are just going to be just revved up. I think they're going to be revved up. And I think the defense is going to come out there and they're going to be on it. Especially because it's the Raiders. I'm telling you, I'm not going to be surprised. The Cowboys, 6 sacks. I won't be surprised if there's an interception or 2. I won't be surprised if there's a fumble. I think the Cowboys are going to do their thing on defense. But I'm telling y'all where I'm worried. Offense. See, a lot of us are worried about defense. I'm not worried about the defense. They're going to look better against the Raiders. I'm worried about the Cowboys' offense. Brian Schottenheimer's offense has not looked good on the road. It's only looked good on the road in one game. That was the New York Jets. The Cowboys' offense has not looked good on the road. Is Brian Schottenheimer going to start letting it hang loose and play aggressively on the road? Is he going to open up the playbook? Can he show Pete Carroll some things he hasn't seen? I'm telling you guys, Pete Carroll has Brian Schottenheimer's number. He knows who he is. Pete Carroll knows exactly who Brian Schottenheimer is. Brian Schottenheimer is going to have to find a way to outsmart Pete Carroll. The Raiders are going to be ready for the Cowboys defensively. Y'all get ready. They'll be ready for the Cowboys defensively. The Cowboys and Brian Schottenheimer are going to have to figure out ways to really outsmart this Raiders team and move the ball on them. They are. Rombowski said, Agent Zero maybe been in the linebacker room studying and learning all this time, but it does no good when the professor doing the teaching can't pass the test himself. Rombowski, we gonna see. I mean, I don't 100% agree, but what I can agree with, and it's an indisputable fact, a Matt Eberflus defense has never looked this bad. It's never looked this bad. Why does it look this bad in Dallas? I mean, I can agree with people about Matt Eberflus, but I can also be on the other side, and I do think some of it has been players. But now they got him some players. So we better see some improvements. And I agree with this because I said this too. The problem with Matt Eberflus is that Matt Eberflus was playing zone to stop big plays while giving up big plays playing zone. Make it make sense. Matt Eberflus was not blitzing to not give up plays while giving up plays not blitzing. I mean, that was Matt Eberflus's biggest issue. That was Matt Eberflus's biggest issue. And so now these last 2 games, we've seen where Brian Schottenheimer's been in the defensive room. They've been running now 5-man fronts, but even those, I'm telling y'all, even those are very susceptible. Teams are going to go look at what the Arizona Cardinals did. I showed it to y'all yesterday. The Arizona Cardinals was running jumbo packages. They were running a lot of motion. They were running a lot of play action because that's kind of how you go against those 5-man fronts because you already know they're trying to push forward. So what do? You do some outside runs. You try to find the mismatches on the one-on-ones down the field. You do those things, and if you can get yourself a little bit of time, the Cowboys have been getting the pressure. The problem is the Cowboys haven't been getting to the quarterback or getting to the quarterback in time. And so if you don't do that, and then the Cowboys are giving wide receivers free releases off the line, And the result is what we've been seeing. So I can see what Troy's saying. Troy's saying, so it hasn't been from lack of calling the right scheme. It's just been really more than anything a lack of execution. It says if the Cowboys fix their defense, they can be a legitimate threat to the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, I think this has been somewhat of a problem. Appreciate you, James. Appreciate you. He said, keep fighting and keep the faith. No doubt. Appreciate you. Yeah, Elbert, I think we're going to keep Logan. True Texan, he said, I hope and pray they keep Clowney. Me too. I said the same thing. Clowney has played really, really well. Clowney's played really well. He's gotten better every single week. Tug said if we get beat. Tug said if we get beat. Tug said heads should roll. Hey, let me tell you something. Tug, I think they want to keep Matt Eberflus. But if Matt Eberflus doesn't have a good showing, man, let me tell you something. People can tell me anything they want to. Katharina Kiss, welcome to the congregation. What's going on with you? Bernard, let me tell you something. Tuck, Bernard, I can tell you right now, I don't think the Cowboys will fire him after that game. But I tell you this, if they don't have a good showing in this game, they will be looking side-eyed at Matt Eberflus for the rest of the season. I believe that. I don't think they're going to fire him during the season unless something is just an unmitigated disaster. I don't think it's going to happen. But I do believe that if he doesn't have a good showing, and where he's got to have a good showing is in this gauntlet. The gauntlet of the Raiders, the Eagles, the Chiefs. Those are 3 winnable games for the Cowboys. The Cowboys should beat the Raiders. I think they are going to beat the Eagles. And that defense should be revved up by the time they see the Chiefs. And the Chiefs have not been the Chiefs of those Super Bowl years. The Cowboys could very well win all 3 of those games. If the Cowboys win all 3 of those games, I've already showed it on the road to the playoffs. The only game I got a red mark by is the Detroit Lions in Detroit. Because after that game, I think the Cowboys can win the next 4. These next 3 are going to tell the tale for the Dallas Cowboys. All right, let's go over here to some player interviews. Got some player interviews. Got Quinnen Williams here. Quinnen Williams, Logan Wilson, Savon Revel Jr. And I really want you to hear what Savon Revel Jr. I'm probably going to skip past some of the Marshawn Kneeland stuff. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are ready to move forward on that. And I'm hoping that these media members finally stop asking the Cowboys about it as much, because you don't want to move on and forget about it, but you do want to move forward, because sometimes people just aren't ready to talk about it. And it's just, I think it's a tough conversation. We've had some of it. Tuck said Matt should not be allowed on the plane. Hey, man, I think the defense is going to look good, though. I do. Marco said no excuses. We come out bad. We take it out on them traders. I think they're going to look good. Yeah, Thomas said, and Dak actually does play well against the Chiefs also, and could see us poking that game, see us pulling that game our way. Yeah, I think we're going to win that game, Thomas. The Cowboys got a great opportunity to go 3-0 over the next 3 games. All right, let's check out Quinnen Williams. Player interviews.
Oh, yeah. First of all, man, my thoughts and prayers go out to his family, his loved ones, man, and then also this organization, the team, the guys who got a chance to be around such a great individual like him, and seeing his film, seeing him play from afar, and how good he was getting better and stuff like that is definitely a tragedy, man. And I just think that the organization, the team did a great job with pulling together, man, mourning his loss, and also remembering him as a good person, as a person that did everything right on the field and off the field, and just keep living in his name and doing the things that he would want everybody to do, and that's win football games and dominate. Because watching film, that's what he did. So yeah, it definitely was a tragedy. So
I know there's been a lot of stories shared about Marshawn. Obviously, you being new here, what did you learn about him in kind of the time since you got here? Stories.
Yeah, I heard a lot of stories, man. And number one was he was a workaholic, man. He worked his butt off.
See, the hard part for me is talking to Quinnen Williams about Marshawn Kneeland. Quinnen don't know Marshawn Kneeland. That's pretty tough for me.
You can see on the play he had scored a touchdown, a defensive end moving that fast, man, to get to the punt, to get to the ball, to not only scoop the ball but scoop the ball and score, man. That's all from work, man. And the person that he was, the smile he always had on his face, the things that he did on the field and off the field, as a teammate, as a person, as a brother, as a loved one, it was super dope to hear from the stories from the guys and things like that. So.
Quinn, from both the coaching staff and just the locker room standpoint, as everybody kind of moves forward with heavy hearts, what can you say about just the passion you're seeing within the locker room as far as going out there on Monday and every game after and playing for Marshawn?
I truly just think the togetherness, man, through this hardship, through this tragedy, has brought everybody together, has really showed everybody the love how we have to stick together, the love we have to show to one another, and to also play for one another, also check up on one another, also really have each and everybody in this organization inside our why and why we go out here on this field, why we be the person that we is, man. I think that tragedy has definitely brought this organization together and this team together. So,
how has it allowed you to get closer with your teammates and have them open up to you and maybe even you to them as well?
It was unbelievable, man. I always had to take a step back in my career, especially through this tragedy, to always think to myself, winning is everything to me, and I can sometimes get so deep inside myself, deep inside my game, and deep inside winning that I forget to build relationships with my teammates and build relationships with my coaching staff like this. And going through this tragedy with the guys in the organization, with the guys in the locker room, has also kind of made me grow as a human being, as a person too. You're going to win Super Bowls, you're going to win playoff games with the guys that you love next to you. And you can't love nobody next to you if you don't know them. So it definitely taught me a lesson and definitely grew me as a man, as a person. So,
how have you caught up onto what they want from you in this defense, and is it different than what you had with Aaron in the Jets in any kind of way, or is it the same?
It was definitely easy to catch up, man, when it comes down to football. I really trust in my football IQ and the things that I can do, especially when it comes down to remembering the playbook, remembering what they want me to do. And it probably took me 1 or 2 days to get the whole playbook down and to come out here and just fit right in, man. And you know me, I always say this all the time, man, whatever a coaching staff or whatever the scheme.
Man, hey, man, don't y'all let this slide. This dude said he came in 1 or 2 days and got the playbook. Now, let me tell y'all something, man. Some people been making jokes talking about, yes, of course he got the playbook because it's simple. Nah, that's not true. Because if it was that simple, these other Cowboy players would have got it. And he got the playbook in 1 or 2 days, and they haven't still got it through. And we about to be in what, game 10? No, don't let people fool you. But let me say this. A lot of people don't realize, man, these football players, these guys are smart, man. Especially some of these defensive and offensive linemen. Man, sometimes people look at people and start trying to judge books by the cover. Man, these guys are smart. I guarantee you, Quinnen Williams, man, you don't be as good as he is and just be a dumb athlete. No, I guarantee you this dude is smart. Of course he got the playbook in a day or two. Not to mention White Cotton. He used to play for White Cotton over there in New York. And so I'm sure that White Cotton has got some of his touch on this defense too. And so, man, this dude, Quinnen Williams, he's going to come right in. Quinnen Williams is going to come right in and be effective for the Cowboys. He's going to come right in. I expect this dude to ball out. I expect him to ball out come Monday night. Him and Logan Wilson. I think they're going to play so well off each other. Big Wapowski. He said when it comes to Cowboys remaining schedule, he said the G is smoking the extra strength 100% organic hopium. Hey, Big Wapowski. You just got to get that first win. And that's the Raiders on Monday night. We get that one on Monday night. Rumbowski, you know it's a division game. I can't see the Eagles sweeping the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys get the Eagles. Chiefs game's gonna be tough. I see a lot of points being scored. Well, at least I say that. If the Cowboys defense is what it's supposed to be, we might be scoring a lot of points, but not them. So we'll see how it goes. But I really want to see not what the defense looks like against the Raiders. The Raiders offense is putrid. I want to see what the Cowboys defense looks like against the Eagles, even though the Eagles hadn't been too good either. I mean, you know, Michael Parsons was talking about holding Saquon Barkley to 60 yards. Micah, make a better argument because your defense has played well, but make a better argument. Bro, this dude Saquon Barkley has been playing terrible this season. Man, Saquon has not been the same. Jalen Hurts, I mean, they're winning. Man, they're winning games similar to how Kansas City won games. And won games not last year, might have been last year or the year before last. But I'm telling you, if Philly gets in the playoffs, A.J. Brown is right. Philly can't keep playing like they're playing and win. Somebody's going to beat them in the playoffs with the way they're playing. Philly could easily be how the Cowboys were in 2023. Get to the playoffs with a 12-5 record. Man, Philly mess around and see the Cowboys and mess around and see the Cowboys as the number 8 seed and get knocked off by the Cowboys. I'm telling us. What is it? I think it's 8. Is it 7 or 8? But I'm saying, regardless, whatever seed it is, Philly is playing in a manner. They mess around and see the last seed in the playoffs and will get knocked off. They are not playing good enough. They are not. And A.J. Brown is right. Man, you can't keep playing. You can't keep playing like that and win. So again, this all depends. The Cowboys, I'm going to continue the series, the road to the Super Bowl. I'll be releasing a video on it today. Okay, the number 7 seed, I'm sorry. So the Eagles is one of those teams that with the way they're playing, man, they mess around and see the Cowboys at the 7th seed and get knocked off. I think the Cowboys got a good chance. Big Rumbowski said, I'm smoking that hopium. But I think the Cowboys got a great chance at that number, 8 seed, but we're going to see how it shake down.
Whatever the team need me to do to win football games, I'm willing to do and I'm going to do because at the end of the day, I just want to win. So,
how long ago does it seem like you've played? Have you ever gone this long healthy and not played a game?
Nah, this is probably the first time. This is the first time I went healthy and haven't played a game. But it's been like 2 weeks and some days, a couple of like two and a half weeks or something. Yeah, but with this coach, with this strict conditioning staff here, man, we did a great job last week because my plan was just to prepare like I was going to play into a game, condition like I was going to play into a game, do pre-practice like I was going to play into a game because I had a bye week previously. So, man, conditioning-wise, everything-wise, man, I just hit it like I was still in season, still played in the game. And, of course, I didn't play a game on Sunday, but I kind of did a mock game amongst myself. And, I usually play around 30 to 40 plays, so kind of 30, 40 reps or sprints or med ball slams, some type of cardio thing where I can still have that same win and things like that. So coming back to practice this week was easy, and it's a blessing to be healthy. So
did it get a little antsy last night watching those guys play?
I'm talking about the Jets, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm sorry, but not really antsy, man. I'm pulling for every single body. I'm pulling for the organization. I'm pulling for every single body. I'm pulling for AG, man. AG, my guy, and I truly believe his standard, his culture, his mindset is going to change that thing around. So I always will keep up with the organization and keep up with them. And I like watching my brother too. So make sure he have a good game. Critique him today and the things like that. So
don't be surprised if Quentin Williams' brother wind up in Dallas next year.
I was always cheer for every last guy in that room because they all my brothers and AG as well. So,
can you talk about your excitement though for Monday night to finally take the field with these guys after this trade and after so much?
I'm super excited. I'm like you said, man. I haven't played a game in a long little minute, so I'm super excited not only to play a football game, but to play for this organization, man. To play for this team, to play for the guys in our defensive line room, and also to play for the guys in this organization has been. On my front most important. And like you said, they took a chance on me and traded for me and did the things that they feel like I can come in to contribute and help this organization go in the right direction. And that's all I plan to do. So.
One of the things you pointed out when you first got here was, how excited you are to play on the same defensive line as guys like Kenny Clark and Osa. That was before you met with him. And now that you've had several meetings with him, and you've had, a couple practices with him, what can you say about just the chemistry that you guys are building?
Oh, it's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable, man, to be able to come in and not only play with but learn from guys like Kenny Clark and Osa. I've been watching Kenny Clark film for a long time, man, and the things he can do from a 2-tech, from a 3-tech. I think I watch every single clip of his at Green Bay, man, and try to learn from, try to take something from. And Osa has been unbelievable in his career and been doing great things as well. So to be able to learn from each other, like I said, has brought me together to learn my teammates on the field and off the field, and it's going to be unbelievable to go play on Monday night with them.
You watch Kenny Clark so much, but what's been like to pick his brain in person? I mean, have you been able to say, like, hey, I watched you do this on film. How did you do that? What's that been like?
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. It's been unbelievable, man, and just continue to learn, continue to grow, continue to build my game week in and week out and year out, especially playing alongside a great defensive tackle like he is. It's been definitely unbelievable, and it's definitely a blessing for me to have. So.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, he's going to be great. He's going to be great for the Cowboys. Let me read a couple comments right here. A couple of good comments that got me laughing here. McMahon said, gee, who would have guessed the Raiders game would have been the most important game of the season? Boy, never would have guessed it. Never would have guessed it. Katharina said, gee, I think you're on to something about the trash birds. Hey, Katharina, they are on the road to collapse. They really are. Rombowski, I just pulled up something. I was thinking about this last week and I forgot to pull it up. Let me add something to what you're saying here. Big Rombowski said this modern NFL is chewing up and spitting out running backs. So I think those 3 extra playoff games, playing the Super Bowl in mid-February, I think it all cuts down on recovery time and hard to overcome even for Barkley. Watch this though, Big Rombowski. You know what else got Barkley? Whenever those running backs get those 2,000-yard seasons, and Saquon Barkley was just shy of a 2,000-yard season, man, let me tell you something. When you look at the running backs after those 2,000-yard seasons, those 1,900-yard seasons, most of them, their productivity falls off a cliff, and they don't look the same. Man, let me tell you something. Chris Johnson was never the same after that 2,000-yard season. The only anomaly is Derrick Henry, and I would say somewhat Barry Sanders, but even Barry didn't do it like Derrick Henry. And of course, and you think about what you said, Big Rombowski, Derrick Henry, no Super Bowl, so he didn't play the extra games. Barry Sanders, no Super Bowl, he didn't play the extra games. Adrian Peterson, no Super Bowls, he didn't play the extra games. Jamal Lewis, I'm thinking he did go to the Super Bowl. Now, I'm going to show you the difference between the ones who went to the Super Bowl versus the ones who didn't go to the Super Bowl. And I think that's going to tell us everything we need to know about Saquon Barkley. I think this is a very good comment here, Big Rombowski. Check out what I got on the screen. So check this out. So players following 2,000-yard seasons. Derrick Henry rushed for 1,921 yards in the season after his 2,027-yard season. Now, let's think about the difference, though, Big Rombowski. Derrick Henry, no Super Bowls. I think they were one and done. So no Super Bowls, none of that. He got back to his regular regiment. So it's no wonder he's at the top of the list and comes back the following year and gets almost 2,000 yards again. Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders runs for 2,053 yards, comes back the following season, only runs for 1,491 yards. And he did that, no Super Bowl, no extra playoff games, no Super Bowls. Adrian Peterson, same way. He runs for 2,097 yards, runs a whopping 1,266 yards the next season. And he didn't even have the extra playoff games nor the Super Bowl. Jamal Lewis, I'm thinking Jamal Lewis had a Super Bowl. He ran 2,066, came back and only ran for 1,006. Jamal Lewis never looked the same after that 2,000-yard season. Never looked the same. Chris Johnson ran for 2,006, steadily declined after that, ran for 1,364 yards. He was never the same. Look at this one. This one is it is the worst one. Terrell Davis, after his 2008-yard season, only ran for 211 yards. See, that's the other part, Big Rumbowski. It has taken a lot out of Saquon Barkley, and he'll never admit it. But running that almost 2,000-yard season last year, it took something out of Saquon Barkley. It took something out of him, and we can clearly see it. Saquon Barkley isn't running the same no more. I'm not buying they're not blocking the same. I'm not buying, and don't get me wrong, Kellen Moore is a great play caller, but I didn't really see a lot that Kellen Moore was just doing. I mean, in actuality, he dumbed down his plays. It's Jalen Hurts. He had to dumb down a lot of the playbook. And I'm not saying that as a knock against Jalen Hurts. He's just not a passing quarterback the way Kellen Moore likes to run his plays. Saquon Barkley has not looked the same. And I'm telling us the Eagles are on the verge of, if they get to the playoffs, man, I wouldn't be surprised the first team they played knocked them off. Danny Dallas Cowboys, what up with you? He said it's been raining from midnight yesterday to today, and next week it'll be raining, G. Live in Cali. I thought it never rained. Oh, wait. Are you in Southern California? Because they said it never rains in Southern California. Marco said we need some wolves. I see you. All White said, how many games will it take the new players on defense to gel with each other? It better be immediate. It better be immediate in some instances. It really does. Quentin Williams is a player that should immediately just come into the game and just start wrecking shop. Logan Wilson, same way. Marvin said, I'm with you, G. I believe that we will knock out the Eagles in the playoffs. Man, I'm telling you, I wouldn't be surprised. A lot of people, man, they're knocking the Cowboys saying they can't make it. It starts this week. If they win, they got to win this week. This is a must-win game for the Cowboys. If they don't win this game, it ain't no point in even worried about it. Big Rubowski, he said, I believe Jamal Lewis was the running back for the 2000 Ravens Super Bowl team. I think so, too. Man, these running backs, anybody remember DeMarco Murray? Shoot, boy, DeMarco Murray ran almost 2,000 yards for the Cowboys. I think that was in 2014. 2014, went into that Green Bay game, almost helped run us to victory, but had a major fumble that really cost the Cowboys of getting ahead in that game in the first half. Man, DeMarco Murray signed with the Philadelphia Eagles the next season. Man, that dude was out of the league in 3 years? Daniel Lee, my right-hand man. Daniel Ranger, what up with you? Those 2,000-yard, man, them 2,000-yard seasons take a lot out of you. Not to mention, you go to the Super Bowl? Shoot. Man, them things take a lot out of you. The Eagles are on a collision course with an upset in the playoffs. Somebody's gonna upset them. I'd be shocked if the Eagles go to the Super Bowl again. I'd be absolutely shocked.
Obviously, you just got here, but how is this kind of like bonded with some guys that you didn't know just because of what happened to Marshawn?
Yeah, it's definitely, I obviously didn't know Marshawn, but you can see the impact firsthand on what he had on the guys around me now. And
oh, yeah, Katharina and Barber. Man, you have them big-time big yardage seasons. Man, they take a lot out of you. They really do. Oh, yeah, that dude Barber was a beast. And with the way he ran,
So as a new teammate, I'm just trying to honestly be a good teammate, be there for them, whatever they need. I know they don't know me from Adam right now. That's just part of where we're at, and but I'm going to continue to support them with whatever they need that they're going through.
Is it a lot of guys have been talking about, hey, let's just check up on each other because you never know what's going on in a person's life.
Sure.
Is that kind of another wake-up call about life and stuff?
Yeah, and you want to be consistent with it. You don't want it to be like just doing it this week and then it starts to fade off. You know, you just try to be consistent with checking in on your people, and especially these guys around us.
Has football been like, okay, this is a good distraction for us in a sense, you know?
I think so. I think he obviously has to talk to some of the other guys more about that specifically. But I think it just kind of helps guys get their mind on football and not forgetting about him, but moving forward and bringing a light to the situation. And that's kind of the mantra around the team right now.
Just looking ahead Monday night's matchup, put the star on your helmet. Is that going to be like a surreal moment for you knowing you're playing for an organization like this?
Yeah, it'll definitely be a lot different than the last 5.5 years in Cincy. You know, wearing the white jersey, the star on the helmet. It'll be a good change for sure, and I'm looking forward to it.
You talked about
Logan Wilson, I'm telling us, Logan Wilson is going to be the key to all of this working. Logan Wilson is the key. All of this communication talk, I will not be surprised if it totally ceases. You won't hear no more of this after the Eagles game. No more of that communication stuff. We have not had a true Mike linebacker. This dude is a true Mike linebacker, high football IQ. He is the exact type of linebacker Matt Eberflus needed. He is the exact type of linebacker Matt Eberflus needed. I'm telling you, he's going to do great for the Cowboys. I think he's going to do great.
how excited you were to learn about the news of Quentin Williams' trade on the plane.
Yeah.
Have you gotten to talk to him at all? And
Yeah.
have you kind of built a relationship just in a short period of time?
Yeah, I've talked to him a little bit. I know he's as good as advertised these last couple of days in practice. So he's a force to be reckoned with. You know, I think some of the coaches that are here were some of his coaches when he was with New York, and so that helps with his terminology. So I think he's just going to continue to do great things.
What do you expect your role to be, you know, immediately with a new team, taking the field Monday night?
I'm not totally sure what that looks like. Just kind of controlling the controllables, what I can. Trying to learn this system each and every day. There's new things every day. And it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a little bit of time, but I'm doing my best to learn it as best I can.
How much extra time have you spent with Borgonzi just to kind of, and if you've been asked that, I apologize, just to kind of know what they want out of you and maybe Eberflus as well, of what the system is, what the requirements are there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have an exact time, but I've definitely put in some extra hours leading up to this week of practice, trying to figure out, you know, what they were trying to finalize the game plan and whatnot as it got closer. But the gist of what we were running, I was trying to make sure I was good on that and spend extra time with Gonzo. You know, I was staying over at the Omni, so it wasn't too far. So I didn't have an excuse to, you know, I needed to come in and learn the system as best I can.
How long are you going to stay there?
I'm not there anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, gone.
Like you get traded, and then obviously how's the last couple of days been for you? Just a new team, city. I don't know if you brought your family in yet. And
I did, yeah, which is important to me. I don't like to be away from my wife and my daughter. She's at a really fun age right now. You don't want to miss those little times, and so being able to go home to them is always good. You know, I think you're constantly adapting at this point. Like you're figuring out the system, you're figuring out new team, new teammates, new coaches, training style, like all the different things, the dynamics that go into all that. And so I'm honestly just trying to control it one day at a time.
Then you kind of try to stay close to Frisco, because you know Cincinnati obviously is a lot smaller than Dallas. So
yeah,
you've been able to venture out because you were on
a little bit towards like the Prosper area, just to see potential spots to live and whatnot. But you know, we'll see. We'll see where that takes us.
Thanks, Logan.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Settle in, Logan Wilson. You're going to be here for the long haul. At least I know you're going to be here next year for sure. Logan Wilson is going to be the key to this Dallas Cowboys defense really working. Quentin Williams is going to just cause havoc up front, but this dude is going to be a major piece for the Dallas Cowboys to make this thing all run, because he is going to be the new quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys defense. Overshown will be the leader, but he's going to be the quarterback of the defense. And we kind of talked about this 5-2 defense. And I'm telling y'all right now, we kind of looked at this 5-2 defense the other day. Logan Wilson is going to play extremely well in this defense. But I'm telling y'all right now, get ready. I know that Brian and these guys are talking about they're still going to run the 5-2 defense some, but Brian Schottenheimer's already planted a seed that we're also going to run some 4-3. And it makes sense because this 5-2 defense, man, this defense is strictly designed to stop the run. It is strictly designed to stop the run. And if you're going to run this defense, this means your safety play and your cornerback play. It can't be just okay. It's going to have to be great. Because when you start looking at, and I told you what the Arizona Cardinals did against the Dallas Cowboys. They ran a lot of jumbo packages. They did a lot of play action. They attacked the Cowboys. They tried to attack them running outside. They attacked them running outside. They found some of the one-on-one matchups, and they were able to put up points on the Cowboys defense. Quinnen and Logan will help with that, but they don't mask all of it. And let me show you something. When you start looking at how do you beat a 5-2 defense? Use spread formation. Deploy multiple receivers in the formation like trips or doubles to spread the defense horizontally and create mismatches against the defense with fewer defensive backs. This becomes one of the problems. So you got to be very careful when you run this. It's a situation. You can't just say, we're going to run 80% or 90% 5-2. Well, you're going to get ran off the field. You will get ran off the field running 5-2 defense 90% of the time. How do you attack it? Quick passes, overload to middle, use route adjustments. I mean, we watched. We watched Arizona. And I do think with Quinnen, I know with Quinnen and Logan will look better, but that still don't take away the weaknesses of this defense. That defense, the 5-2 defense, it is designed to stop the run. That's what it's designed for. It's designed to stop the run. Big Ron Bowski said the 5-2 was invented by Wilkerson. He told us this the other day in OU in the 50s, not designed for the modern game. And you've just traded for an all-pro defensive tackle to go with Kenny Clark. Time to run a competent 4-3 scheme. Exactly. That's exactly where I am. The Cowboys are going to have to go back to the 4-3. The 5-2 defense is because they couldn't stop the run. With Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark, you got you a true 1-tech. You got you a great dominant 3-tech. Nah, the Cowboys ought to be able to stop the run. You'll have gap control now between Overshown, having Logan in the middle, and you'll probably put either Murray or Maurice Leofow outside. Nah, you ought to have what you need now to run 4-3. You ought to have what you need right now to run 4-3. Yes, Baz said it. We should be in 4-3. I'm telling us, man, this 5-2 defense is a liability. And it is not hard to beat. It is not hard to beat. It'll look better. And again, 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 1s, maybe even a 3rd and 3. But, man, you start trying to run that 5-2 defense 60, 70% of the time. Shoot, if you think Arizona put up points on us, they'll put up points on us too. They'll put up points on us too. You can beat this defense. It's not hard. It's not hard to beat. And notice this. Identify the defensive end's alignment. Because why are you doing this? Because you're going to run outside of it. This is some of the stuff Arizona was doing. You run outside of it. Identify the defensive end's alignment. Observe if the defensive ends are pinching inside or staying wide to contain. If they are pinching, run the ball to the outside. If they're staying wide, run the ball inside or to the short side of the field. It's not hard to beat. Now, if you got super studs all over the field, everything's hard to beat. I mean, if you got super studs all over the field, even simple plays look like you're a defensive guru. We're not quite there yet. So the Cowboys are going to have to be real smart in how they run these defenses. Because I'm telling you, man, this 5-2 defense, it becomes a liability. You think about how you're running this. You think about how you're running this defense. You got 5 down linemen, 2 linebackers, 2 cornerbacks, and 2 safeties. Well, if a team comes out in trips, and let's say they come out in trips, they got 1 tight end. Let's say they got 1 tight end and they got 3 wide receivers. Well, who's going to hold who? Because somewhere on one side of this field, you are definitely going to have a mismatch. You're going to probably have a linebacker on a wide receiver. Or you're going to have a safety have to come up and play on a wide receiver. But man, I'm telling you, you got to be real selective at how you run that defense. And I do think the Cowboys are going to move back to the 4-3 defense. And we don't have the linebackers to run the 3-4. You can if you wanted to, you could kind of switch that 5-2 to a 3-4 by, rather than putting defensive ends on the edge, you could put linebackers on the edge. But I don't think we have the linebacker play to be able to play this appropriately to where these guys could drop in pass coverage and we would be comfortable with them doing it. Y'all get ready. The Cowboys are getting ready to move back to the Matt Eberflus system. And I said this a couple of weeks ago, and I've been saying it. If you're going to run a 5-man front, 6-man fronts, if you're going to do all of these different things, well, you don't need Eberflus because that's not Eberflus' system. You don't need Eberflus. You need to get somebody that does this better than what he does. True Texas said Wilson will be a good mentor for Agent Zero. Yeah, because he's got the football smarts, and he'll definitely be able to help him with that. So this 4-3 defense, this is what the Cowboys are going to try to get back to. It makes sense. It provides a balanced attack, allowing the defense to be aggressive against the run, but have enough players in coverage to protect against the pass. This is what you want to get back to. And the Cowboys, they ain't running no 3-4. We ain't got the linebackers. This 5-2 defense, I mean, just look at how they talk about it. I mean, Rubowski is right. It's more popular in youth football, middle school football, and high school football, where running is the primary offensive strategy and quarterbacks aren't fully developed or talented enough to beat defenses through the air. This is a different league. We watched Jacoby Brissett with the Dallas Cowboys running a 5-2 defense. We watched Jacoby Brissett basically, the Cowboys, the Arizona Cardinals just awarded the guy they awarded him the job after beating the Cowboys. And then, of course, they came against the Arizona Cardinals and came against Seattle Seahawks, and they came right back to earth. So I do believe the Cowboys are going to work their way back towards getting that 4-3 defense, especially with the game after the Raiders, because one of the biggest discussions going on right now between the Eagles and their team is they are really dogging Jalen Hurts because teams have been just literally stifling him running zone defense. He's afraid. They've been talking about he's afraid to make the tight window throws. So this is why teams have been able to hold the Eagles to almost no points. And like I said, Michael had a very bad argument. I think he could have made a better one. But these teams, they They haven't been scoring. The Eagles have not been scoring a lot of points all season. They have not scored a lot of points all season. So it wasn't them who've just been holding the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles, I mean, Jalen Hurts, they're winning these games. Jalen Hurts is not even throwing for 200 yards. It is what it is.
Thanks, guys. So we'll start with the obvious first and foremost.
All right, man, let me tell you something. I did a video on this, and I released it this morning. If you haven't watched that video, man, let me tell you something. This dude is about to say some insane things about George Pickens. Just insane. Watch this.
Let's talk about the challenge of moving forward with a heavy heart due to the loss of Marshawn, but then balancing that with the excitement of making your debut.
Yeah, it was pretty hard on me, especially talking to him every day.
Okay, I'll come back to you in a minute. Superstar status.
And just. He want best for you. You know what I mean? He don't want you to sit down and mope around and everything. So, I looked at it as, okay, what he want me to do? Just taking this step forward. Do he want me to sit around and mope around all day? So I just took it in like that. And I have people that I lost my own. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't say it did too much because, I'm already, I challenged myself. I'm very self-motivated. So just pushing myself to the limit. You know what I mean?
How excited are you to get out there?
Oh, man, I'm very excited. Not playing football for a whole year. You know what I mean? I'm very excited. I just got to focus on my details. A little rusty, but at the end of the day, I know what I got to do. I know I got to put that work in. I know I got to take it step by step every day.
How limited are you physically?
I'm not sure. Like I said, I'll take it step by step every day, and I don't want to put that in my head. I just got to come out here and do what I do and do it my best.
Being on the field these last 3 weeks and now being able to finally go play on Monday night, and just kind of your emotions around that.
It's definitely kind of nerve-wracking, but once I touch that field, like leading into it, it's kind of nerve-wracking. But once I touch that field, I know what I can do, and I feel like everybody know what they can do, but I know my body, so I know I can go out there and play the game and be confident in it.
Family coming?
Oh yeah, my dad, my mom said it's too much walking, so I don't know.
I love the way this guy talked about his family in this interview. I absolutely loved it. This young man's family structure is everything for him. And I love how his parents are his heroes. I love that, man. I love that. That's the way you want it. You want to be your children's heroes. Not athletes, not movie stars, not public figures. No, you want to be your children's heroes. You want to be your children's role model. And I noticed this throughout this interview. He just kept talking about the importance of his parents.
About that, I ain't been before.
How much have you bonded with Marion? Because he's been going through his own rehab as well, and you guys have kind of bonded and get back on the field together.
Great dude, and just looking at how he work make you want to work even harder. So like, I'll take any day and work out with him anytime. I can do some linebacker drills, but I bet you can't get out his break faster than me. Huh? But yeah, definitely, man, he's definitely a good dude. Someone to look up to, and y'all seen his past. Just looking at his highlights and stuff like that. He a good dude, man. He hard work.
Do you think you'll have to remind yourself to let the game come to you?
Say that one more time.
Do you think you'll have to remind yourself to let the game come to you, not play too fast and get too excited?
I can't get too excited. Like I said, take it one at a time. You don't want to overthink anything. You know what I mean? Because I know myself, and I know I can go out there and do what I can do. You know what I mean? And do it at my best, 110%.
It's obviously been over a year, but that included a lot of days that led up to stacked on top of each other. What motivated you every single day? What was your motivation? Your mindset?
I don't know. I speak about this every day, and like a lot of people have it worse than I do. You know what I mean? A lot of people can't talk to other people about it. So I take it in, as in like my mom and dad too. So they worked hard too in every situation they had to go through in their life. So this wasn't the worst thing that happened. I know what I could do. I know what I couldn't do. So I took it day by day, kept my head above water, and just approached every day with an intention to get better and better every day.
Right.
Man, I'm telling you, boy, this young man's upbringing, man. This young man's upbringing, man. Just shout out to his parents. Shout out to his parents, man. They raised a good one, man. And he so appreciates. All through this interview, just my parents. Man, I love that. And that's a reason why he mentions it. He's just, man, he's self-motivated. Just great upbringing.
Schottenheimer talked about kind of your press man ability, and you talked about knowing what can you do. Sort of what can you do in that area, and what do you provide on the field for this team?
I provide, effort, and I feel like effort carries a lot of things, like getting to the ball, being there, because you never know when the ball gonna pop out. And my press technique, it's not perfect, but that's when I say, okay, I gotta work it every day.
Will you wear the brace in the game, or is that just for practice?
Yes, I will.
And how comfortable are you with the brace?
I'm comfortable. It can take getting used to. You ain't used to something on your leg all the time for 3 hours, so I feel pretty confident going into the game with it.
You mentioned when
longer than you thought.
Say that one more time.
Did this whole thing take longer than you thought?
I ain't really thinking to it that much for it. You know what I mean? I played today, not tomorrow. You know what I mean? Because I can't control what happens the next day. So like I said, I took that day, worked my hardest, busted my butt, and just kept going. You know what I mean?
Shotty was talking about the value of you being on the scout team and going up against CD and George. What have you learned from going up against them in practice?
Hey, it's real.
Now, I don't know if y'all heard this, but listen to what he says about George Pickens in particular. Check this out.
It's real, especially George Pickens, man. Slippery, slithery, like, you know how he get. Y'all know him. Definitely competition. I feel like they brought me back to myself. You know what I mean? And, approach it every day, these same guys you've been going against, you know what I mean? And, yeah, that's it, man. I can't say too much about it because, every day I feel like I'm getting better. And every day I feel like I go out there in front of them guys, I'm making them better too as well. So.
They're two different type of receivers. You talk about
two different,
so they increase your versatility in regards.
That boy George, man, yeah, he'll give you some work. He'll get you ready for game day, definitely.
Now, I don't think this is about George Pickens being better than CeeDee Lamb. But I'm just telling you, it is what it is. This dude specifically continued to mention George Pickens. I'm telling y'all, man, I've been saying this. This dude, George Pickens, is different, man. George Pickens with Dak Prescott is, I don't think anybody imagined that this is George Pickens with a great quarterback. This dude, George Pickens, is different with Dak Prescott, man. I'm telling them. This dude is different. George Pickens is an incredible wide receiver. And if this dude can run with George Pickens, he ready. He ready. I got full confidence. If this dude can run with George Pickens, hold George Pickens, and maybe this is why Shotty's been saying some of the things he's been saying about him, about the explosiveness and all these things. Maybe this is why he's been saying it, because he's watching him go up against CeeDee Lamb and in particular George Pickens. Man, I'm telling y'all, George Pickens, I'm not exaggerating. This dude, George Pickens, man, has exceeded even my expectations, and I thought he was going to be great. Man, this dude is hit alien status. The Cowboys need to really start getting this dude the ball more. There's no answer for him right now.
I mean, obviously, in this league, every cornerback is going up against an NFL wide receiver in practice, but there are levels to this. So when you talk about CeeDee and George, and just talk about how that'll help you going forward as far as going against opposition that's not always going to be as good as CeeDee and George.
Yeah, it's not. See, going against them, it's gonna make me better every single day. I mean, who can get better than them guys, in my opinion? You know what I mean? Because we got two of the top two receivers, in my opinion, in the league, especially George Pickens. You know what I mean? I step in front of them, and I'm like, let's get this work.
Hey, I'm not trying to start anything. I'm just telling you what this dude said. You're hearing what he said. He said those two dudes right there. I feel like they are two of the top wide receivers in the game. What did he say? Especially George Pickens. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know what else to tell you. That's why I keep saying this isn't about necessarily who's better, but I do think it's about what's better for the Cowboys. And I think if you look at the tape and you're honest with yourself, you're going to see exactly what Savon Revel Jr. is saying. You're going to see what I said after the Denver Broncos game, after the Arizona game. What did I tell you? The Cowboys are holding George Pickens back. I don't think they're necessarily doing it on purpose. I just think they're holding him back. The dude needs the ball. Straight up. He's unguardable right now. And when you got an unguardable receiver, don't make it about who's the best wide receiver. You make it about who can the defense not stop. What's the mismatch? So whatever our strength is right now, that's what we go to. And until teams get an answer for George Pickens, then we're going to keep going to George Pickens. That don't mean you don't work. That don't mean you don't work CeeDee Lamb in. It don't mean that you don't throw the ball to CeeDee Lamb no more. But what it does mean is that Brian Schottenheimer and Dak Prescott have got to stop going into plays with CeeDee Lamb as the primary receiver and go into plays with, okay, well, maybe George Pickens is either the primary receiver or let's make sure we read the field rather than just coming out of a play knowing full well that it was predetermined before the play even was snapped and we just throw it to a CeeDee Lamb who's not even open. No, we got to stop doing that. We have to stop doing that. We have got to play to the strength. And I'm just telling you, this dude, hey, Andre, you can say what you want to say. I'm not saying it. Savon Revel Jr. said what he said, and you can't argue with it. This dude specifically 3 times said George Pickens, and in his last remark, he said, especially. Now, I don't know. Do I need to go to the dictionary on what especially means for you? I'm telling you, I'm not saying it. He said it. Maybe we need to understand what especially means. Maybe we need to understand what that means. The truth is the truth. I don't know how else to slice this for us. Especially used to single out one person, thing, or situation over all others to a great extent, very much. Unless you're telling me this dude is bad with grammar. He said what he said. I'm just letting you hear what he said. Everybody know what this dude's saying. Man, George Pickens right now, there is no answer for him. That isn't taking anything away from CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb is still CeeDee Lamb. Top 3, top 4 receiver in the league. But I do believe George Pickens needs to be in that conversation. George Pickens needs to be in that conversation. Me and my sons were having this discussion just a week ago. And you start having this conversation out loud and start asking yourself or start trying to go back and forth with somebody and say, okay, name me the 5 receivers better than George Pickens. Man, you get to about number 2 and you be like, okay. There is no other receivers better than George Pickens, man, past 3. Past 3, I guarantee you. Nah, this dude, George Pickens, it is what it is. And the Cowboys need to accept it. This dude, George Pickens, is just playing incredible right now. Cowboys Nation said, can't wait, man. Revel and Quinn going to change the defense. Don't forget about Logan. Yeah, and adding a coverage linebacker like Logan helps a lot. And let's not forget Agent Zero. Now, Cowboys Nation. But see, it's not just Logan's play. What you're getting with Logan is the IQ. That's what we've been missing. Logan has the IQ. Logan is a true quarterback of a defense. Logan's going to be a key in how this thing works. And I think we're going to see this defense
I talk to him every day.
Exponentially better.
That work, you know what I mean? When I get that work, it's just, hey, I feel like I have a bad day. It's going to make me better on the game day because, like, I'm learning.
Are you talkative during reps?
Am I talkative?
Yeah, trash talk.
Maybe after the play. He beat me off the line scared. Hey, brother, hey, slow down a little bit. But nah, I be joking around with them sometimes. You know, I'm a quiet person at the same time, but I like to engage with everybody.
Have they given you a welcome to NFL moment yet?
What you mean?
Like just a play where you're like, oh damn.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. When you're on that scout team, you know, I've been out for a year. You know what I mean? I'm thinking I'm finna okay. Let me get this. Boom. Take that one moment, you know what I mean? And shock you, and you be like, okay, this is the real deal.
How long do you think it'll take for the nerves to melt away? Will it be 1 rep, 2 reps?
See, I like that question. I say about 2-3 reps. Yeah. You know what I mean? To get it out my stomach, you know what I mean? Out my head. So.
Do you have a pre-game routine? Like something that you always did in college that you're gonna do
before I run out the game? Run out there? Yeah. Pretty much. I talk to myself. You know what I mean? And I backtrack to, like I said, I like to backtrack, and because my purpose is to help the people. You know what I mean? And I know the job I got is not the hardest thing in the world. So, and I'm looking at my mom and dad, and like I think about them all the time before I step out on that field. Take a deep breath, inhale, exhale, and let's get it. You know what I mean?
Telling you, man, high character dude, very high character dude. I love the fact that his family's important to him. And man, when you watch the film on this dude, to watch how soft-spoken he is, watching his demeanor in the press conference, boy, this dude is a stark contrast to what he is on the field. He is an absolute monster on the field. Monster. I mean, instincts, ball hawk, tackling, you name it. Man, this dude is going to be, man, health holding up. Man, Savon Revel Jr. going to be one of them. Savon Revel Jr. going to be one of them. Yeah, he going to be one of them. Yeah, superstar status, unfortunately, this isn't going to happen. I don't know if you remember what Jerry Jones said. Jerry Jones said in the initial press conference of Brian Schottenheimer, Schotty would not be the coach for the Cowboys if he was not calling plays. Jerry Jones said that. I don't think they're going to allow, because if Brian Schottenheimer gives away the plays, something is probably going wrong. And if it's going that wrong, he ain't going to be here long. No, they want Schotty. They want Schotty to call the plays. I agree with you. I think, maybe he should be a walk-around coach. But if he's not going to be a walk-around coach, he got to get back in that offensive room. Hey, 7 Tebow. Yeah, hey, man. Yeah. Revel going to be one of them, I believe. Health. If he can stay healthy, he going to be one of them. Daniel M., I think they're going to come out on fire because of what happened. The Cowboys have decided they're going to channel what happened with Marshawn Kneeland, and they're going to use it. Nah, they coming out on fire. Man, you know what, J-Dog? I'm kind of surprised at Justin Simmons, because people keep talking about him so much. I'm surprised Justin Simmons is still on the streets. I'm surprised that the Cowboys didn't get Quandre Diggs. I mean, there's a couple of guys out there that I'm surprised that the Cowboys didn't pick up. I'm really, really surprised. But I think a part of this is that the Cowboys want to stick with what they have. Top World, he said, what's good? I said on here a few weeks ago, number 3 is a keeper. They got to sign him. Dominique said, G, I'm sorry, but the way you're talking, you mentioned about them forcing it to Lamb, but you're saying they should force it to Pickens. They don't have to force it to Pickens. He's open. That's the problem, Dominique. Go look at the tape. You don't have to force it to him. He's open. The Cowboys just aren't throwing it to him. George Pickens is open. They're throwing passes to CeeDee Lamb that they should not be throwing. Even Brian has admitted as much, that when you go back and look at the tape, Dak has admitted it. You go back and look at the tape and you go, okay, maybe I should have went here. Yeah. If you didn't predetermine when the ball was snapped who you were going to. They do a lot of, sometimes Dak will just come out of this thing. They snap the ball. You think about that what was that play against the Arizona Cardinals? It was a 4th and 4. Rather than CeeDee Lamb sitting down on the route, they gave him an 8-yard cushion. Rather than CeeDee Lamb sitting down on the route, CeeDee Lamb runs that route about 5 to 6 yards too far. Dak Prescott could have hit Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams was over there open, could have got that first down. Not sure what George Pickens was. What did Dak Prescott do? Clearly saw that CeeDee Lamb had taken that route too far. What did Dak do? Dak didn't even look away. Dak threw the ball to CeeDee Lamb anyway. Can't do stuff like that. George Pickens is open. Check the tape, bro. I'm telling you, Dominique, check the tape. This dude is open all over the place. They have no answer for this dude. George Pickens has just been playing that good. That don't take away from CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb, I'm sure CeeDee Lamb will tell you he's happy with the way this dude is playing. CeeDee Lamb is happy that George Pickens is balling like this. I bet you CeeDee Lamb would even tell you, yeah, they need to go to him more. Because if they go to George Pickens more, they'll get CeeDee Lamb open more. But teams are, it's not hard to figure out. Sometimes they're forcing the ball to CeeDee Lamb when he's not open. And they're not throwing it to George Pickens when he's wide open. That's all I'm telling you. Man, George Pickens, they have no answer for this dude right now. They have no answer for him. And I hope the Cowboys, man, hey, go out there and take what the defenses are telling you. If they don't have no answer for George Pickens, then make them get an answer for George Pickens. And then when they try to answer for George Pickens, then you turn right back to CeeDee Lamb and you wear him out. And that's how you get defenses off kilter. But if you're going to go into a game, and I know you're going to force the ball to CeeDee Lamb, there are going to be a couple of times I might get a jump on the ball for you. I might get a jump on the ball. And that's why that player for the Cardinals was able to knock that ball down. That's why I said Brian and Dak Prescott have got to do better. They got to do better. When you know that there's no answer for CeeDee Lamb, then if they don't have an answer, then you keep on going to him and just, hey, CeeDee, don't worry, we got you. They'll roll that coverage over to George Pickens, and then you wear him out with CeeDee Lamb. Man, the Cowboys got 2 incredible receivers. They have to stop this. Okay, we got 2 incredible receivers. We want to make sure that we either get them both the same amount of targets, or we want to make sure no matter what, that CeeDee Lamb is going to get his targets. No, don't play like that. You're hurting the team. You look at what the defense is giving you, and if you see where there is no answer for George Pickens, wear him out. Because they should have worn him out in the doggone Denver Broncos game. Man, when Patrick Surtain went out, what? Man, I hate to even talk about it. There is no excuse. In that Denver Broncos game, this dude, George Pickens, should have been eaten. They had no answer for him. Had no answer for him. But again, I just want them to do better going forward. They got 2 incredible receivers. Nobody's trying to pit them against each other. But you just got to admit what you're seeing and what you're seeing. I mean, this dude, George Pickens, right now is on an incredible arc. He's on an incredible arc. Man, Cowboys, I'm just saying, Cowboys better take advantage of it.
Debut, in the NFL as a 3rd-round pick for the Cowboys in prime time. Just how good does this feel to set that kind of tone and give that kind of testimony to guys who aren't coming from some of the bigger schools and bigger programs in the nation?
One thing I want to say about that, I feel like, man, if you're a dog, you're a dog. I don't care where you been. I don't care D1, D2, D3. You're a dog, you're a dog. Go out there with confidence. You know what you can do. You know what I mean? And I came from ECU. So the way I look at it is I don't care where you came from. If you go out there, better bust show. You know what I mean? Keep going, man, for real. It don't matter. Don't listen to the noise outside. You know what I mean? You know what you can do. Do it yourself and be available for yourself, you know?
Thank you.
You know it.
Thank you.
I appreciate y'all.
Now, let me give you a little history on let me give you a little bit of history on Savon. Now, Savon is being very humble because Savon actually had an opportunity to go to D1 schools. After schools started seeing the way Savon played at ECU, schools came knocking on the door. And they wanted this dude to play for. There was quite a few of these D1 schools that came knocking on the door. But because ECU gave him an opportunity, and this is why you got to love a guy like this, because ECU gave him the opportunity, he decided to stay loyal to ECU. Quite a few teams wanted him to leave ECU, but he didn't do it. Same thing with Phil Maffa. There were teams that wanted Phil Maffa to go to some of the big D1 programs. Phil Maffa stayed where he was. And so, man, Savon Revel Jr., he wanted them. He wanted them. And I think it's going to be, I think he's got a great chance to be one of the great ones for the Cowboys. But I'm very interested to see what he looks like because, again, I think he's right. You got two different types of receivers you're going up against in practice. CeeDee Lamb is the type of wide receiver, he kind of takes you in between the hash marks. CeeDee Lamb is the type of wide receiver that he makes you work on your tackling because CeeDee Lamb, he gets his yards after the catch. He's incredible. He's very slippery, got some really good moves. CeeDee Lamb is that type of wide receiver. So he's really going to get you working on your tackling, your angles, your angles, your footwork. That's CeeDee Lamb. He kind of works you out with that. But then you got George Pickens. Bigger bodied receiver, very strong hands. He can take you inside, outside, but and the Cowboys hadn't even been using him in my estimation, at his real strength, and that's the boundaries. The Cowboys have allowed some teams to take that away from George Pickens. We've gotten some, but we probably could have gotten more with George Pickens. But now you're holding a player like George Pickens, and what he does is he stretches you. He stretches you out. I mean, and then the size of how big he is. You got to be able to play him, with his back to you or whatever the case may be. He can body you up as a wide receiver. That's one of the reasons why George Pickens is one of them guys. It's almost like he's always open because he can body you up or he can high point a ball. So both of those wide receivers, they work you out in ways that if you can work with those two wide receivers as a cornerback, sure, boy, you're going to be pretty doggone good. Now, if we think about during training camp, I don't know if y'all remember, but I was talking about this. Man, CeeDee Lamb, I mean, we probably should have figured out that the secondary was going to be a problem. CeeDee Lamb was destroying this. He was destroying this secondary in training camp. CeeDee Lamb was eating on them. Absolutely eating on them. You would think our entire secondary would be better just working out with these guys, but CeeDee Lamb especially exposed them a lot during the training camp. But like I said, man, if you've ever played football, there are two types of receivers that give you fits. Small, quick, and shifty wide receivers, they give you fits. And then large, lanky wide receivers, they give you fits because they can just body you. They can just body you all day long. Even when they're not open, they're open. So if, Savon Revel Jr., man, going up against George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, whew, this dude ought to be ready. Yeah, this dude ought to be ready. I'm excited. I'm ready to see him. Ready to see him out there against the Las Vegas Raiders. Pretty sure he's going to be on the pitch count. Definitely ready to see him against the Eagles. Not too worried against the Eagles. The Eagles' passing game has been non-existent. I think the true test for Savon Revel Jr. is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. That's when we're really going to get to see what Savon Revel Jr. is all about. Now, again, Dominique, don't get it. And this, don't get in your feelings about the issue with George Pickens. Don't get in your feelings about that. I don't see how fans would be wanting to trade CeeDee Lamb because we have the exact situation that we want. We have 2 number 1 wide receivers. We have exactly what we want. And I don't think there's anybody that's going to be talking about trading CeeDee Lamb. I don't believe it. 2 things can be true. There is nothing wrong. You can't be mad at Savon Revel Jr. for saying what he's saying. And you really can't be mad at anybody for saying what we're seeing. This dude, George Pickens, right now, man, he's just playing some incredible football. I mean, Dak Prescott's passer rating is higher when he targets George Pickens. There's nothing wrong with saying all of that. Not to mention George Pickens coming off that high ankle sprain. Don't think George Pickens was not George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb coming off of that high ankle sprain. But Dominique, some of this stuff about Dak Prescott forcing the ball to CeeDee Lamb, it's because of what was before George Pickens got here. Dak Prescott in 2023, him and CeeDee Lamb put together one of the most incredible seasons we've ever seen. And so I understand why Dak is doing it. Because CeeDee Lamb was all he had in 2023 and pretty much in 2024. So I understand it. Going to CeeDee Lamb for him is like muscle memory. I can understand it. But even CeeDee Lamb will tell you this. CeeDee Lamb ain't tripping on this. CeeDee Lamb said out of his own mouth, he wants George Pickens to be successful. There's nothing wrong with anybody talking about the success of George Pickens. He's just an incredible wide receiver. It's just bottom line. He's just an incredible wide receiver. You don't even have to have the argument of he's better than CD or CD is better than him. They're just 2 different types of wide receivers. And if you ask me, I love this problem. I absolutely love this problem. I want this problem, and I want the Cowboys to keep this problem. I'm not going to have the debate of who's better between CD and George Pickens. But what I am going to argue for against anybody, this dude, George Pickens, is a top 5 wide receiver. George Pickens is a top 5 wide receiver. Bottom line. Bottom line, he's a top 5 wide receiver. The Cowboys got an incredible wide receiver. We all ought to be thankful that we got this dude. And some days, watch this. Some days he will be better than CeeDee Lamb. He will be better. And some days CeeDee Lamb will be better than him. Why? Because that's what the defense may be saying. That just may be what the defense is saying. So it's no, and I don't know. I haven't heard any fans. Well, I have heard some people saying some things, but if anything, I've heard nobody say anything about trading CeeDee Lamb, who I've been hearing them say trade is George Pickens. A lot of people have been saying trade George Pickens, and that's one of the worst things we could do. That is one of the worst things we could do. No, we got to keep George Pickens, because if we don't sign George Pickens, none of this makes sense. None of this makes sense. Dominique, let me tell you something. I think George Pickens was already top 5. We just didn't know it. George Pickens was already top 5. He was just playing with terrible quarterbacks. But I'm telling you, when CeeDee Lamb went out for that stint, man, George Pickens, this is the very reason why the Cowboys are going to have a hard time keeping George Pickens. They are going to have an absolute hard time. Now, you say, how can he be top 5 in half a season? Well, I guess at the end of the day, we already know what it is on tape. But man, look at what this dude is. It is what it is. Dominique, the dude is just great. This dude is right now, he's ranked number 4. I want you to imagine this world. If George Pickens is number 4 with CeeDee Lamb, what do we think George Pickens' numbers would be if he wasn't playing with CeeDee Lamb and had a quarterback like Dak Prescott? I guarantee you George Pickens would be ahead of Jackson Smith and Jibba, whatever his name is. I guarantee you he'd be ahead of Jackson Smith and Jamar Chase. Man, we're talking, this is George Pickens with CeeDee Lamb, with a running game. This is George Pickens. George Pickens is an incredible wide receiver. We don't have to have the argument of which one is best. We don't have to have the argument of which one is better. This dude is an incredible wide receiver. Cowboys got to use him better. They got to use him better, and they got to find a way to use him better and not allow teams to shut out him and CeeDee Lamb. Because it's a travesty that the Arizona Cardinals were able to hold CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens to 10 points. I mean, with Dak Prescott at 10 points, man. I mean, that's crazy in the grand scheme of things. So we'll see how it goes. But again, nah, we don't have to have these. Well, nah, that's not the conversation. I'm just telling us that George Pickens is an incredible wide receiver. And if you go and watch some of this film on Brian Schottenheimer and Dak Prescott, they are forcing balls to CeeDee Lamb. And we watched it against the Arizona Cardinals. You don't have to do that when you got George Pickens. Chanel, what up with you? Yeah, it's the play calling. Shotty has to do a better job. Our offensive play calling is stale. They've caught up with Brian Schottenheimer. We don't run pick plays. Nope. We don't run outside runs. Nope. This offense at times looks predictable. And this is why I'm telling us Pete Carroll's going to have something for Brian Schottenheimer. Brian, as I said in the opening, shoot, Brian better come out of the box, man. Brian Schottenheimer better come out of the box because Pete Carroll knows who he is. Pete Carroll knows exactly who he is. Brian's going to have to show Pete Carroll something that he ain't seen or show him some things that he hasn't seen. He's got to show him something because I'm telling us, Pete Carroll knows who he is. The Raiders defense is going to be ready for the Cowboys. They're going to be ready. You watch what I tell you. They're going to be ready. Brian's going to have to go into this game, and I'm telling you, he's going to have to open up that doggone playbook. I agree with you, Big Rumbowski. Pick plays. Where are the deep crossing routes? Where is the motion? Where is lining up George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb on the same side of the field? Where is sending Kevontae Turpin on a go route, clearing out the safeties, taking a safety with him? Where is putting Kevontae Turpin in space? Where is all this creativity? Brian's going to have to do something a little different. Because I'm telling you, it's a copycat league. It's a copycat league. And I'm telling you, the word is simple out here on this thing, man. Cover everything deep on the Cowboys. Cover everything deep. Stop the run. Force them to throw short passes. And you stop them on a couple of drives. Defense ain't good enough. Game is over. Big Rumbowski said the time to trade Pickens is come and gone with the trade deadline. I agree. At this point, it's now all about negotiations, given that Pickens' contract would have run out, but Dallas has the franchise tag option. Yeah, they got to sign him. They have to sign him. Ben Dooley said, what up, G? Our offensive line started blocking better. Then we could use Lamb and Pickens like the duo receivers in Cincinnati. I'm going to tell you, man, one of the big problems with this Dallas Cowboys offense has been the offensive tackle play. Offensive tackle play, it's been pretty bad, especially in the last couple of games. And I'll tell you this, also during the season, Dak Prescott has made the offensive line look better than it is. Dak through footwork, stepping up, running outside. Dak Prescott has made the offensive line look better than it is. Bam Bam Gaines said, I feel you, G. Not about Pickens versus Lamb. It's just this season, there has been multiple times when the game was on the line and we went to receivers other than Pickens when he had the hot hand. Yeah. And I still don't understand the Denver game. I don't understand the Denver game. There was no answer there. Bass said they ain't tagging Pickens with that agent. I said the same thing, Bass. He ain't gonna let him do it. Man, this dude will come up with something that will make the Cowboys have such a headache that they're either gonna sign him or trade him. So, Daniel said, I hope that you're a prophet come Monday. I hope the players come out and play hard. I think they are. I think the Cowboys are gonna come out like their hair is on fire. Ryan said, Revel just said a mouthful about Pickens and had to play him in practice. We got to accept the truth so we can win games and feelings go out the window. Yeah. I mean, Revel said he'll get you ready. He said going to be hard to keep both. Pickens will get $35 million in the open market. D-Ken, I think somebody would be willing to make him probably the highest paid wide receiver in the league, but I still think the Cowboys got to do it. Oh, hey, Albert, let me tell you something. This sweatshirt I got from Fashion Nova. But watch this, Albert. You know why this sweatshirt looks like this? I have the sweatshirt on backwards on purpose. The Cowboys is supposed to be on the back, but I'm like, man, this thing looks clean with the Cowboys on the front. So, yeah, that's why, this one was from Fashion Nova, and I think it's in stock. Bass, we better not let Geno come out here and slice us up. Better not. We better not. Chanel said if we win the toss, we have to take the ball and maintain a long offensive drive to break their spirit. I say so too. Get the ball. If the Raiders 3 and out of us on the initial drive, then we're in trouble. I'm just telling us. Pete Carroll is going to have a game plan. His offense is putrid. But Pete Carroll, I told y'all the other day, he don't mind winning the game 6-4. He don't care. He don't care if the game is 8-4.5. He don't care as long as he wins. He different like that. Rumbowski said if Pickens isn't willing to sign the franchise tag, then Jerry and Steven will be forced to negotiate a 1-year tender in order for a trade deal to happen. It's no longer as simple now. They got to sign him. They have to sign him. Yes, sir, Albert. When you play from behind, the game plan changes. Bass, I think he's going to pay him. I do. I think he's going to pay him. There is no doubt in my mind. Jerry's going to pay George Pickens. I said from the beginning, all roads point to George Pickens. All roads point to George Pickens. So, all right, guys, I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Got videos to make. Got a lot of content for y'all. Try to get some content out. Hold us over until Monday, so I'll be putting some more stuff out. We'll be back post-game shows tomorrow. We'll probably do after the last 3 o'clock game, and then we'll probably come back and try to do Cowboys After Dark on Sunday night. So we got a big day tomorrow building into this Monday game. I'm excited. Top World said, I like Pickens' mentality and grit about him. Lamb is cool, but not scary. Hey, Lamb is scary, just in a different way. Lamb, hey, you sleep on Lamb will do you in, man. Lamb will do you in. Tough wide receiver. Don't mind going through that middle. Don't mind going in traffic. Slippery wide receiver. Great yards after the catch. Sneaky fast. CeeDee Lamb get ahead of you. Bye-bye, it's over. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all. Katharina Kiss, you have a great weekend too. I'll see y'all later. I'll see y'all tomorrow, Lord willing. I'll see y'all after services. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Best chat on YouTube. Until the next time, DC4L, God bless. Prayers up for the Nealon family and the Cowboys organization. Until the next time, DC4L, let's talk Cowboys. We talk facts. Peace.